hang on. Is Lee ready?
Max,
I'm ready.
I'm opening the podcast. Hello, podcast. Welcome to Directly to You. It's fanatixfour's podcast. I'm AJ of fanatixfour, and I'm here with Parker, also of fanatixfour. You know who's not a fanatixfour? The other two people here. Max. He's been on the show 4,000 times and has had the most questions about the show of anybody that's on it currently. And also Lee is here. He's meeting Parker for the first time. Hello.
I am. I
mean, like 30 minutes ago when we started thinking about maybe eventually one day recording a podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah. but see, I've been waiting. So I can finally call out AJ for stopping me and Parker's union. He's been trying very, very adamantly. I think he realizes that me and Parker would be a better duo than him and Parker. So he's a bit jealous of that. You know what I mean? So I think that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
It's been a good run.
Support this channel and the show and Lee and Parker's new venture apparently by going to youtube.com/fanatixfour, twitch.tv/fanatixfour and giving us $4.99. Or on Twitch specifically, you can give us Jeff Bezos' $4.99. You know, hashtag eat the rich. If like 20 billion people right now go to twitch.tv and link their Amazon account to the Twitch account and give us a Prime Gaming sub, Jeff Bezos ain't gonna have no more money, dude. That's the dream.
Sir.
Eat the
now
rich.
Think about it. I know what you're thinking. I myself don't have an Amazon account. Well, maybe your dad does. Maybe your aunt does. Maybe your grandma does. Maybe you know she gets a lot of things on Amazon. So
grandma's not on Twitch. And if grandma is on Twitch, tell her to go twitch.tv/fanatixfour and watch the stream. Exactly. It's
if your grandma's on Twitch, shout out to her 1,000%.
Exactly. And tell her that if she subscribes, she can get access to the supporters on the Discord. She can get free emotes. She can get loyalty badges, gaming time with us. You know, me and Lee play Smash Brothers, and we're looking for people to jump into the arena. Tell grandma, hit us up. We're sending the arena code right immediately. Matter of fact, she doesn't even have to do it because another perk that I just assume is like assumed is you get to be a best friend on my Switch friend code, Bliss. So whenever I open an arena, it's usually friends and people that are on my best friends list.
And I'm sure you want AJ and your grandma to be best friends.
And also,
why wouldn't you?
If you're best friends with AJ, I think that means you get to see what games he's playing when he logs on, which is not that much of a perk, but like, whoa.
Yeah, man.
You know?
So get to know when I'm playing Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, dude.
Yeah. Did you guys drop the free Switch keys from time to time? Because that's
no. I was going to get to that. Free Switch keys from time to time. When I remember to go through my emails, sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I have Switch keys. I'm going to drop them in the supporters only Discord. That's what I do. But also, you can join the Discord by going to the Discord link in the description for the free. Talk to Brad. You can talk to Duncan. You can say yo, 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 or however many times you want to say yo. It's cool. We accept all here.
We do.
Anybody play video games?
Well, can I just start by saying I remember being really impressed by that when you used to do that, AJ. You just pull it off and you do it. And then I did it once, and I was like, "This shit's easy."
It almost blended in.
I didn't know it was going to be Max. I thought it was going to be. But
right, you know, I'm so used to being on shows where every episode, at least once, we drop a C-bomb that I just can't.
Oh no!
I just have to really rein it back. There's like a bingo card now where it's like boop.
I've got the notes being taken. I'm ready.
Let's just start this podcast, man.
We already. I just started. Are you playing any video games? Other than, don't talk about Smash Brothers yet, Lee. So we'll get to that.
Am I allowed to talk about GNT?
Yeah, sure. 100%. Whatever game you're playing that's not Smash Brothers. Just for segueing into that larger topic.
So I have been playing Super Con for me, which is Super Clash of Ninja. If anybody remembers the Naruto games for the GameCube and Wii back in like the mid and late 2000s, you know. They have a competitive scene for that now that you play online, which is pretty cool. So it's like I've been super getting into that a lot, and I've been spending most of my time playing that. And also,
is it a PC game or like what's the?
It's a GameCube.
It's a.
Okay, so but it's just emulated. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's an emulator. Exactly. And from that same emulator in that same Discord, I also found that they have a competitive Sonic Rider situation as well. So I've been looking into that a little bit too. So yeah, that's where I've been for the week.
Nice.
This sounds insane.
Oh yeah, I forgot there's another game that we're supposed to talk about too. That's why Max is here. Oh boy.
It's true.
Is there competitive Kirby's Air Ride as well? I want to get that.
Honestly, like with all of this going on, it's not super far from Sonic Riders, so I'm like, there has to be. Like, I just gotta find it.
I'd be surprised if that scene isn't bigger than Sonic Riders.
I found competitive Mega Man Battle Network scene. I was like, what? What?
You can just turn anything competitive now, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, but I love it because these games didn't get a chance to be online, you know? So I appreciate that they can still have a livelihood nowadays, you know what I'm saying? Like, so
but on the Wii, and it was bad.
And Rev 3, you know what I'm saying? Like, before they had Clash Ninja 1, 2, and then Revolution 1 and 2. So, like, at the end of its lineage, you know, it didn't go through. So, yeah, I do appreciate that a lot.
I'm looking it up, and it looks like there's two things that could maybe be. I think there's some competitive Kirby Air Ride.
It has to be. I'm gonna look into it now.
Who's the top player? Who's the top player of Kirby?
I would gladly stream a competitive Kirby's Air Ride game against all of you. I want to do the city trial, 5 minutes, get your stuff together, compete in a match, fight the bird, find the dragoon, get the dragoon. Then you're absolutely sailing away.
Max, you just said a bunch of words that brought, like, this threw me back in time.
I have truly never played Kirby Air Ride.
Wow. Anybody looking to see? Parker's been
putting
himself out on Front Street lately. This man is trying to get fired.
Parker,
first he spells Weedle with an H. What was the other thing that you fired yourself for?
I said forgetful instead of forgettable.
Which is the opposite of that.
Parker, let's be real here. Do you actually like Nintendo?
I hate them so much. They're 3 thumbs down. I only have 2 thumbs, but like, you know, just imagine a third thumb. Right there.
Has 3 thumbs on Nintendo games. These guys.
Crazy.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. What's everyone else been playing?
I'll go next because I'm going to say some games. Get ready. Here we go. Still playing Bravely Default 2.
Okay.
Goodness gracious, it is a good game. That's about it. Yeah, it's okay. Here's my pitch for it. Y'all ready? Okay. If you like JRPGs, like classic JRPGs, Max.
I'm already out.
But you did a lot of quality of life things that don't exist in the old ones. It probably fixed it in this game. There you go. That's the whole sell.
I think that's cap. I think they probably fixed some quality of life things, but other things people just accept as JRPGs.
Oh, 100%. I mean, some of those things, like turn-based combat, you know.
Yeah, when are they going to fix that? When I do an attack, I have to wait for like the end of that.
No, actually,
attack to happen.
I will tell you, they're like this sort of fixed that in that you can the whole Bravely and default system. Like you can just go into a battle and pretty much just use up your next 4 attacks right at the beginning. So grinding is like wait.
Oh, because you can just wipe someone.
Yeah, exactly. So pretty much you're like, I don't really want to take damage. If I know that I could beat them in 4 turns, I'll just go ahead and do it now instead of like waiting back and forth. So like it actually is a lot better in that regard. But then that has to obviously be used strategically in like big combat and all that. But yeah, there's just like a lot of quality of life things that are great, and you can cut the grass, and you can get better items pretty much from the grass.
I love how I just cut the grass in,
and you can cut the grass. It didn't even say like you could do jobs. He was like you can cut the grass specifically. Cut the grass.
I literally mean it's like Zelda cutting grass, where you're just like walking around. There's just a bunch of grass out there, just like choop. But then like randomly from the grass, it'll be like, hey, here's 2,000 gold points, and you'll find a treasure chest, and it's like, here's like 1,000 gold coins, and when you literally just got 2 times as much from cutting grass.
Can you give us an idea of like how much things cost in that world so I can gauge how much that is?
It's more than like I have so much more money than I need. Like I will never run. I have I mean it's like think Pokemon. If you have like 200,000 coins in Pokemon, like I guess maybe not with competitors.
I was about to say that's cat.
No.
That's one Pokemon.
But like say it on like the regular, like not on competitive Pokemon, but like if you wanted to buy Pokeballs and you had like 200,000,
Yeah.
That somewhere in that range, like pretty good. Like
exactly. I mean, with this, like
honestly,
like a tent, for example, which is an item that as long as you're in the overworld, it's like a Poke Center pretty much. It costs 270 gold. So having 200,000 is like,
wait,
I'm pretty good.
270 gold to go to the Pokemon Center?
To like buy an item to like replenish all your health, all your magic points and stuff like that. So I'm loaded and it's great.
I was about to say that's messed up.
Like
they went backwards. Pokemon got free healthcare.
Pokemon's got socialist healthcare. It's
exactly.
like we pay our taxes, we get pre-Pokemon healthcare.
And we don't even have to pay taxes.
We live in a society.
Well, we're children, so maybe our parents pay taxes. I don't know.
Y'all should have heard AJ the other day trying to fight me down on the building laws in Pokemon and with the gyms and whatnot. Told me with the
they're like code.
No, I wasn't talking about
the code.
The codes.
He was talking about how come not every gym has sprinkler systems and stuff like that. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense to have all that stuff when there's fire type Pokemon. Things are going to be on fire. So like literally every time somebody does flamethrower, the fire alarm is going to go off.
They've just always got Squirtle on site to put it out immediately.
There you go.
That's the plan.
My thing is, right, you see the sprinklers in Ash's first gym battle with Brock. He uses his advantage, he wins, right? But then in the third gym with Erica, the whole gym catches on fire. And Ash and his friends then have to put it out. So I'm like, where's the building codes that this building just doesn't have a sprinkler system, a fire extinguisher? I was confused.
I think it's just a personal decision. I think Brock was like, I think I want to have fire, like a system to
in a rock gym. In a rock gym.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm with Lee on this
must
one.
be stupid.
Not gonna lie.
That's crazy.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. But what I'm saying is, it's more dumb of Brock to have a fire, to have a sprinkler system than it is of Erica to not. Like the dumb thing on her end is to make for her gym to be so flammable, because it's like the only gym that we know of that has been lit on fire. Like,
but when they were building like Koga's gym and they were putting together the plans and they went to the city for planning permission and they were like, what we want to have is basically just like loads of invisible walls.
Yeah.
That we're going to have kids just wandering around this invisible walls thing and they have to reach into bins to try and find buttons.
It's probably just glass. At what point were they
just like,
real? It's probably just glass, and they probably just clean that glass like all the time.
Is it like those Fun House of Mirrors videos?
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Into a thing. It's like how much movement.
I love how in movies,
it's like how birds fly in the windows. That's what it is.
Yeah,
they just got Windex on hand.
What a sad time. I don't remember what I was going to say anymore. It doesn't matter. The other game I'm playing is It Takes Two. I'm playing on an Xbox.
Oh, nice.
And it's
I still
good.
gotta play that with Bob.
If you have a second person to play with, because it's like, it's only co-op, so you can't play it by yourself. If you got somebody else to play it with, it's very fun. We're enjoying it a lot. So I'm playing with Ashley. I thought you
had like a controller in each hand, and you were like,
I mean, I'm Sakurai, so might as well.
Basically, right? Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. It's if you like 3 platformer kind of stuff, and you have somebody else to play with, and you have any platform that's not a Switch.
Way Out, because A Way Out is made by the same team.
Yeah, it does a good job too of like towards the beginning you have the same abilities as each other, but like you'll need to do some stuff together. But then as you keep going, it'll like at some point I had nails and Ashley had a hammer, and so I would like shoot a nail into a wall and she could use the hammerhead to like swing off it. So it's like every time you're opening doors for each other to kind of like puzzle your way through, but I can't just like go all the way ahead because I'll run into a roadblock that only she can fix. So it does a good job of like pacing you together and all that stuff.
Is it online or is it local?
It's both.
It's online.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait,
when you finish playing it with Ashley, I'll play it with Ashley after.
There you go.
Nice. Wait, and then she'll carry you. She'll carry you.
You can buy. So you can buy the game and play it co-op with someone else online.
Yeah.
Like you don't.
That's another thing that is like that team's thing. It's like only one person needs to buy the game.
Yeah. And then you can download like a free. It's kind of like, I think Clubhouse Games has the same kind of thing.
It's sort of like that, but it's
where
not
it's like if AJ bought it, then Bob could download the like companion version, and it like he would work with that one. So you only need to buy it one time for both people.
But the difference with Clubhouse is like Clubhouse is limited. Like Clubhouse is like you can only play 8 games or whatever it is. Like this, you can play the entire game as long as you're playing it with somebody that owns the game. You can play through the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that is
There you
pretty
go.
good. Okay.
So that's what I'm playing, except for the one that we'll talk about later.
So we'll
somebody
talk
else.
about Monster Hunter first, because I feel like that's going to be like a smaller conversation.
Or Max, do you have anything that you're playing that's not Smash or Monster Hunter?
Hang on. What? No.
Okay, so Monster Hunter.
Just Monster Hunter. Why is Monster Hunter going to be a smaller conversation than Smash Bros?
Because
because old, man.
we're going to get to that. I mean,
fine.
Lee knows. You should know. Well, you
I
didn't.
know.
I guess neither one of y'all saw the tweet. But anyway, Monster Hunter.
Okay.
So I played about 45 hours, I think, so far.
Jesus.
Yo, it
I've
came out
been-
last Friday.
Yeah, I played 24 hours by Monday, Lee. This is my
my
jam,
God.
man.
Wait, hold on. Wait, give me a little backstory. So, how deep into Monster Hunter are you as far as like previous games, such and such?
So I had a game on the PSP, didn't really understand it. Picked it up on the Wii U when you bought Mario Kart, you got a free game.
Yeah.
So I picked Monster Hunter. And then I played like 50 hours of that by myself. And then me and my mates one day were just like, we should buy 3DSs and Monster Hunter 4. And we were like,
Wait, hold
okay.
on. So I just want you to realize. So you already almost went over the amount of time you played the one from before.
Yeah.
That's
Because I was playing it on my own, so I was doing it in dribs and drabs. But then when we got 4, we were playing it together, and like we had like entire weeks of my life where I'd be like, I'll book a week off work, or I've got sciatica, so I can just I can't go to work, so I'm just gonna hang out at home and play like a week of Monster Hunter with my buddy. And me and my mate Ryan would literally just sit there till like 6 a.m, like hunting, grinding, playing online, just shouting like rubbish memes at each other. And we played about 200 hours of Monster Hunter 4. Then we played like in the pandemic last year. I bought him a copy. Did I buy him a copy of World? He bought a copy of World. So I think someone got him a copy of World, and I just bought World. So we put like 100 and something hours into that. And then when Rise was announced, he was just adamant he wanted to play it, but didn't have a Switch. So we had a whole situation where I like bought him a Switch, and he gave me like a phone, like as a trade. And then,
yo, what a trade-off. I'm not mad at it.
And then now we both have Switches, and we both have copies of Monster Hunter, and we have been playing it whenever we can. It's been tough because I've been at work, and all at my work I'm just like, I really want.
Apparently not that tough. Played 45 hours.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Bro.
that's true. That's true. But it's just
Tough
I think,
emotionally, AJ.
It is tough emotionally. It is. So I'm just
Because he
away
wanted to
from
put
my-
in 125 hours,
Exactly.
but only put in 45.
So my actual thoughts of the game, I think this is definitely like amazing, obviously, and I can see. So a few of the reviews that I read, because I was obviously like super into wanting to read the reviews, was they were saying there wasn't much end game, and I'm not near the end game. I'm only like rank 6 in the hub quests and rank 4 in the village quests.
And what's the highest rank?
I'm rank 2.
7.
Yeah.
But usually in
Highest
like
rank like 10.
no, it's like 7 or 8, I think. But in the previous games, you'd hit like rank 7 or 8, and then you would unlock your hunter rank. So you'd play the G rank quest, which would then be like super high level monsters, new monsters. They would every time they added a new monster to the game,
Okay.
it was basically a G rank monster, and then that would unlock your rank, so it could go up to 999. So I think you would play, and the more you play and the better you play, the more your rank would go up. Whereas it's not, the cap is currently at 7. They are unlocking that next week or sometime this month. They're unlocking the hunter rank cap, and they're going to add new stuff. So I can see how people thought there wasn't much of an end game, because I can kind of imagine myself, if I'm playing like I am now, by the end of next week, having done sort of like all the main monsters that are out now, I would have decided sort of the weapons I'm going to stick with. I'd start experimenting with other weapons. I'd have a good armor set. And what was my point? So I can see how the reviews might have been like, oh, there's not much of an end game, but I do think it's something we're going to get with DLC. But in terms of the actual game, I think like it's just so fluid. I don't know. Have you guys played Monster Hunter before? Which of you?
I played the first one I played was the one on the Wii U, and then I played 4, I think. I know one on the 3DS. I don't remember if it was 4.
There was a couple on 3DS.
That's why I'm not sure. And then I played a little bit of World, and by a little bit I mean like 2-3 hours, and then I was like,
oh, so you did the tutorial, the opening tutorial? Nice.
I barely,
Yeah,
I
right.
didn't even do that. Didn't even do that apparently. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm out on this, and then this game.
Lee, have you played any Monster Hunter before?
So the actual games from Monster Hunter, no. I've only ever interacted with Monster Hunter being in a different game, i.e. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. and then like smash once like they got the whole they got the big dragon that Rathalos. So with that being the case, I've never I don't really have any interest in Monster Hunter, but just last night I was hanging out with my friend and I came through with his Switch and I was watching him play Monster Hunter, and I was understanding it, I was watching it, I saw him hunt a few monsters. I was like, okay, I get how this could be pretty fun, and it definitely swayed me a little bit more to get it and try it out. So I'm like, all right, man, I might just make this purchase sometime this week or next week.
Yeah. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I played. I haven't actually played it. I played the demo for Generations Ultimate and tried just the two. It was a beginner one and an intermediate one, I'm pretty sure. And I remember some of my frustrations with that one were the different areas and that whole thing, having loading screens between stuff. Not being a seamless world was a thing where I know that was the classic, but that's the way it is, and that's something we've talked about. And I'm so glad that it's not like that, because it did feel very
no, man.
All right, well, why are we?
This game? They can't make
it with the seamless world.
They can't do the thing that they never did before. That's not how development works.
So that was definitely a thing. And then the other thing, I think the weapons that I used back then, when I tried it, were pretty slow weapons, and so I just felt like I kept trying to hit something, and then it would move out of the way before I tried to. And since
Did you go dual blades?
I have not. I'm insect glaive is what I'm doing so far. Yeah. And but So having knowing that was just a slow weapon, and even though that's a little bit true of a number of weapons, that's still the having to commit to attacks is not every single weapon. But also I've played Dark Souls since then, so I'm just a little bit more used to the concept of committing to attacks. But even in Dark Souls, I play short swords and stuff.
That's one thing that I noticed while I watched my friend play last night. I was like, dude, these attacks look like they have mad hit lag on them. It just seems like it takes a while for you to actually hit something.
You commit to the attack and then the attack goes through, and
And see, but that's the problem that I've always had and continue to have with this game. It's a lot of people make the Dark Souls comparison where it's if you like Dark Souls combat, you'll like this combat, or you'll be able to play this because it's a similar thought process of movement and all that stuff. This game, this series, I feel does so much worse of a job at the fighting game thing, where it's being able to take visual information from, I hit them, they can't do this, or they can do this, or whatever. It feels so bullet spongy for so long of the battles that you do. It's you get to certain it's it feels more equivalent to a traditional boss battle or whatever, a Donkey Kong boss battle, where it's okay, I hit him 3 times, so he said
the Donkey Kong.
Okay, I see.
Right. Oh yeah, I see. I think it definitely I would there, I guess, to be a bit more knockback responsiveness, that kind of thing, other than just seeing the number, and
not even knockback, hit stun. There's no hits, and even if it's I'm getting to the thing because I know you're about to say this monster's huge, blah blah blah, or whatever.
You're right.
Bowser's huge, he has tough guy. That makes sense.
Well, so
I'm saying, I'm not done.
Continue.
I'm on your side, man.
I get that they shouldn't have a huge amount of hit stun because these are giant monsters and all that stuff, but there's no visual feedback for when you hit them. None. And that doesn't really make any sense.
That's not true. There's a number.
That's not
visual feedback.
It's not.
It's not the one you want, but it's visual feedback.
It's not good visual.
It's not visual feedback in the micro. In terms of every time you hit them, they go, "Oh, owie!" It's more the case of if they're doing an attack and you hit them with a big enough hit, or a hit that's got the what's the word, a hammer or something that's not slashing damage. It's what's the word?
Blunt damage.
Blunt damage. There we go. And
D&D.
It can be. Thank you very much. It can be it can be recoiled, or it can go it actually does physically recoil. And also, unlike in Dark Souls, where when you can do a big hit and an enemy might react to it, in this way, if you do enough damage to a head, a wing, a foot, a tail, you physically
like,
see the
fall
tail
off.
be
Yeah.
damaged. You
Yep.
see the tail.
Right, but
knocks
that's
off,
the
you
part
see
that
the
I
horn
was
break.
talking about with the Donkey Kong thing, because I know that they do have phases in that way where it's like I hit the tail enough, the tail fell off, but it takes so long to get to that point that it doesn't feel like a Dark Souls sort of thing. It feels more like a boss battle. Like fighting with Dark Souls, even when you're fighting monsters or people more often than not, when you're fighting somebody that is like stronger than you, if you hit them when they're like a more direct comparison, because it's more recent in my mind, is Sekiro, like posture, right? If they're off their posture and you're hitting them, there's visual feedback there, like actual feedback, not like, oh, there's numbers telling you so it's doing damage or whatever. Like design wise, there's input that you can take into your mind. I hit him like this and he's going to do that, even if it's a thing in the other direction. Like if I hit him and it doesn't hurt, show me that. Like the monster just standing there and being like, I'm standing here, not like I hit him and then he like moves towards me, you know, where it's like,
I guess
bounce.
I will agree though too, like, I mean, for what it's worth, what Lee said about like it's numbers, like that there is truth to like seeing different varieties
seeing
of
the numbers
numbers
is what makes me feel even more so like it's
right.
Bungie.
But I mean, yes, but at the same time, I like a rebuttal against my own thing that I said as far as like recoil or anything like that is if all attacks did that, and especially if you're playing like 4 players together, then I feel like it would end up being really easy to just cheese a boss by like, we're just going to stun lock him or whatever, you know? So I do prefer thematically the like macro thing instead of the micro thing. But I think there's definitely
ways to solve the problem without it being like, okay, they can just brute force do everything.
Well, hold on,
there's
wait,
ways
Max,
to give visual feedback without it being a huge.
Well, I was gonna say, isn't there like a part where like, what is it like? You take a chunk out of the monster, or whatever it is, like
yeah,
that age.
That's what we were just talking about. Like you can cut off tails and stuff like that. But that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's the because there's nothing that shows you that that's a thing. If I never played Monster Hunter before and I'm continuously attacking this tail, there's nothing that's telling me, oh, you keep attacking this, it's going to get cut off. He's not like they're not like, oh, you're attacking my weak point, so let me avoid you from like let me stop you from hitting my tail.
Like the Hinox covering his eye or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
So that does lead me quite nicely into something about this game, specifically Rise, that is, in that it does a great job of explaining the new features to existing Monster Hunter players. What it doesn't do a good job of is introducing new Monster Hunter players to Monster Hunter. Yeah. And that's very much like you say, like if I didn't know to hit the tail to break it, I wouldn't know to do it. Yeah. And I've been playing through this game and I know that because I've played so much Monster Hunter before, and there's like just little things that you're able to work out, little things that are different, but are still roughly the same thing as they used to be, just under a new name, or there's a new way to activate it kind of thing. But things like breaking tails, breaking faces, attacking weak points.
Breaking faces.
I mean,
it's a thing. I think it's a thing. Like, dude,
he's not wrong.
I know it sounds like a WWE promo, but trust me, like it's not.
We're breaking faces.
I totally agree. Like that's something where like, so there was a question on Twitter from ProudX Prince who said, and thank you, Max, for whatever. How come I'm an hour into Monster Hunter and don't really know what's going on? Mind you, it's my first Monster Hunter. I think, and you'll have thoughts more on this even than I will, I'm sure. But like, I think it seems like this is the most approachable Monster Hunter, maybe other than World. I don't know.
Relative to other Monster Hunter.
World is like, above and beyond approachable compared
to as
this.
Far as like, just the concepts go and that kind of thing a little bit, but as far as the like actual instruction, it reminds me a lot of, so I've been teaching guitar a little bit this year, and I've realized something I've done poorly some of the times is give too much like little bits of lots of information all at once. Like, so this is this, and this is this, and this is this. You won't need to know this till later, but this is this. And also this, is this. Instead of like taking one thing and really diving in on it. And that's what Monster Hunter seems to be doing, is like, it's trying to tell you everything at a really top level view. And it's like, you can learn more about this if you want, but like it's information overload. I'm like, as opposed to like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, even though there's tutorials for 50 hours of the game, at least you learn each thing before moving on to the next thing, you know?
So I think that and like when I brought up the point about like hit stun and stuff like that, that's just presenting a baseline concept of how I feel about the game overall. Like I think the game is bad at showing you. The game feels the need to tell you everything, and that is poor design. Like I feel like people that are Monster Hunter fans are like, oh, it's easy because like it explains all the things. It didn't explain that to me. I had to like do research and like go through study guides to learn this game. And like it's presenting you with the information. I get that. It makes the information accessible, but it doesn't make it digestible. And that is the issue that I feel like persists with Monster Hunter.
So for that, and also to answer the question, so we don't have to answer it later. This is one of the only game series that I would say the best thing to do is not to sort of like read what the game gives you or play the in-game tutorials kind of thing. It's just to like watch a video of someone that knows what they're doing, explaining it to you easily. Like almost like how you would learn better from a professor telling you something because they know it so well they can explain it to you in dumb terms.
I was playing the video game with Ian. Every time I played this game, I played it with Ian.
I've got other things to say about Ian, man. I've got stuff to say about Ian's tutorials.
Is Ian's, because I don't know, because Ian hasn't really tried to teach me anything per se yet. How is Ian as a teacher?
That's the question. Yeah.
I don't
if he's anything like his visual guides, man, they're not very good. Man.
I don't think Ian is necessarily the best teacher, but literally nothing that he has told me where it's like, and again, I've been friends with Ian for a while now. This is not the first thing that Ian has taught me. I have not been able to really retain anything that he told me about Monster Hunter so far. There's like small things where it's like, oh, eat this before the mission because this, and this, but like control things and like why this works and like the general best practices other than the eating thing are like I don't really know.
I wonder because like I would say the exact same thing as you said, Max. Like Monster Hunter in general just didn't make sense to me until Mitch and I got on a call for the demo and I tried some stuff, and then as I had questions he would answer them and he would tell me just the baseline information that I needed to know, but didn't do the whole thing. I sometimes do with the guitar lessons of like telling all the things. So I wonder if
you don't need this yet, but
yes, right, exactly. I wonder like if Ian's maybe doing some of that. I'm just telling you like
he's just like Monster Hunter, like he tries to, but I'll get to that. But like I'm pretty good at learning. I know how to learn.
Says who?
We'll get to that. I'm pretty good at learning. But if you're not going to present me with the information in a way that is digestible, it's not going to, because I'm going to be more focused on like, why are you teaching me it like that? Less so the information, because I know that is not a good way to explain that. And that goes for a lot of people, including Monster Hunter diehards and the video game itself, especially the video game.
Yeah, outside of, because I think we all agree that it doesn't do a great job of showing the things, but like, what are you guys' impressions having played it? I mean, obviously Max hates it, but what are you guys' impressions just of the game, period?
I have fun with it as a social thing, and that's all I expected, to be honest with you. It's the entire thing is like, this is fun depending on who I'm playing it with. It's Among Us for me, because it's like even when I'm playing it with people, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Like I feel you. You're not inherently wrong, but don't do that. Like
what? That's what I'm saying. I'm not even saying that in a super positive way. I'm saying it's a good direct, especially for people that have listened to the show. And Parker knows. I'm sure where I'm getting at here. It's a game that's like it's fun with a good group of people. But even with those people, I'm not trying to play this for 4 hours at a time. It's like I played it for 2.5 hours. I'm done. I'm good here. You know, like. And that's how Among Us is for me. Like I know people, several, that will play Among Us all day.
Oh yeah.
It will never, ever be that for me. It's like I have a hard cap where it's like I'm going to have fun with this game for this allotted amount of time, and at that hard point, I'm like, it never really ends where I'm like, man, that was fun all the way throughout. It's like, this is fun. This is fun. This is fun. This isn't fun anymore. It's not fun anymore. It's not funny anymore. I went out.
That's fair. I can't be mad at that.
The point that I find it had stopped being fun is, which has happened once or twice, is where like a monster will just keep killing us over and over again. And that's more due to the fact that I'm like, obsessed with I don't want to farm this monster because the next good monster I want to farm is just around the corner probably. So I'll just wait. And I've done like three levels of high rank, so like the rank 4, 5, 6. And I did rank 4 with like a really basic armor and was like, there'll be something in rank 5 I want to farm, so I'm not going to farm anything. And then I got to like the end of rank 6 and was like, I've got like a base armor set from like the start of this, and this thing's really like kicking my ass. Can I say that? Can I say it? Can I say ass?
Yeah, you can say ass.
Yeah.
You can say
kicking my ass.
Say it a lot. That's the rest
Yeah,
of the show.
yeah. He doubled
that.
down. I love the double down. I like.
And I was like, oh, maybe I should have actually farmed and it killed us like 3 or 4 times in a row. And I was like, look, let's stop doing this because this is not fun anymore because it keeps killing us. What we can instead do is actually just go back, do some of the farming of the monsters that I was like, next one. And I did. I farmed a monster. I've got a full armor set. We killed it, and now I'm like, oh, I'm having fun again because I think
that's going to be the thing that I was asking Mitch about as well yesterday. He came over and showed me the ropes a little bit of some stuff, and the metagame part of it. I mean, it's the gameplay loop, but I mean, I asked him like, should I buy stuff at the store? Like in a lot of RPGs, for example, like, I mean, we just talked about Bravely Default. I don't buy anything in stores because I'll find stuff other places and I'll save all my money for that one time, or maybe I'm going to need it later and that kind of dumb stuff. And I asked him like, similarly for upgrading weapons, should I save resources so that I can upgrade it way better a little bit later because I should have had that resource save? And he was like, honestly, try your best to just throw that out the window and just do whatever you need to do ultimately to have fun, to to play things.
Again.
Yeah, right. So that's the thing that is going to be interesting for me to see how that pans out. Like I still haven't played the game a whole lot because I just keep playing Bravely Default, and also because the first real hunt that I went to a guild hunt, I guess, before doing any of the village quests, and tried. Like the first one ever was an acnosome, whatever.
Acnosome, yeah, with the big the bird.
Yep. And I didn't like. I was just wandering around doing other things, and then started fighting it 20 minutes into the 50-minute time limit, and died twice earlier on of just random stuff. And so, the first one I ever
didn't
did.
give
and
yourself a good shot then.
I did not, and I told Mitch that was the first one I did, and he was like, "Oh, that's actually like, yeah, that's the first one you did. That would be." And I was so close to beating it when the time ran out. Like it several times was like, it's almost dead, but it kept flying away and going other places.
You spent 50 minutes. You spent 50 whole entire minutes on it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, I spent 30 minutes because the first 20 minutes I was just de-daddling around.
Yeah.
And so, but I also like forgot how to do the Kinsect thing right. So like I was proud of myself that I got close to it, but I was like, man, all of these missions are going to be 50 whole minutes long. And then I went and did a village quest where it was like kill 8 Jagras, and it took 5 minutes. I was like, oh, okay. It can be a pick up and play game a lot more than I was worried about. And that definitely helped me feel better about like wanting to play it, and not feeling like.
You brought up the bug thing.
Insect?
Yeah. That's another part of this game that I'm like,
that only matters for the insect wave.
Yeah, you're thinking of the zip.
I'm thinking about the wire bug. That's what I'm thinking of. There's so much stuff in this game, wire bug being a good example, where it's like complex to do it control wise, and it does not need to be.
So like, I was going to bring this up because when I played the demo, I was like, yeah, the wire bug seems cool. And I was like playing a weapon. I was testing out a weapon and was like, yeah, it seems like fairly useful. But I started playing the lance in this game, which is a much slower, you have your shield and you're blocking a lot. And you're not really needing to zip around and jump around because you just have your shield. You're like, no, bang, okay, cool. And you're just always on the monster. So I was like, this isn't very useful. And then the more I sort of like decided to start throwing in, zipping into the air, climbing up walls, using the wire bug moves more often, the more I was like, this works. And now that I've it didn't take me the full 45 hours to do it. I must have sort of like the more I played, the better I got. And I'm now really into the wire bug as a traversal tool, as a way to just like change your moveset a little bit, because you can you can change the one that you have.
Yeah, I've heard that there's like, every weapon has like a specific wire bug technique and things of that nature.
I haven't figured out how to do that at all.
I don't know how you do it. I just know my friend was
I
telling
think
me
it
about
depends
it. Showing
on
it to me.
your weapon.
Yeah, so there's always like a ZL and A and a ZL and B, I think, or is it ZL and X? Something like that.
It depends on the weapon.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, they always do different things. So like I had one
because
so with
there's
the
like I'm using the heavy blow gun or bow gun.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Heavy bow gun.
Heavy bow gun.
And because you use ZL to aim, it's a different combination.
Right.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, that would make sense. Oh, it's probably just L.
But I'm more so talking about like the traversal part of it, not so much the specials, even though that in and of itself I think is like more obtuse than it needs to be. And it's not that it's not useful, it's just that there's certain things about it that's like when you're climbing up walls, it's like, okay,
and then it jumps off at the end.
Press the thing and then hold this button to keep running up, and then press this button and this button to shoot it again, and then hold the other button and why do I have to hold the button to keep running up? Why can't I
need to hold the button? I've never held a button to run.
You have to keep holding L or whatever to run up the wall, and then
I'm doing it wrong
after a while. And then you press it again, and then you shoot it again, and then you run.
Then I'm definitely doing it wrong. It's the way I do it. I jump off the dog, the guy starts running until he stops running, and then he hops off. Then you just zip wire up again, and he runs up the wall again, and then you're up the thing. And it gets to a point where, like, if you have a third wire bug, you can just do it 3 times, or you can like swing to let your stamina recover, and you hop off and run back up the wall again. There's loads of different like ways to do it, and it does become pretty fluid when you understand it. But I guess if it's not something you're doing very often, I can see how it might not.
It's just not
fit into
like
your natural thing.
It could definitely be something that like you gain muscle memory for. My criticism is that it's not intuitive.
Right.
When it could be. It could be intuitive. There's a lot in this game that I feel like could be intuitive, but is not. And like a lot of that is tradition in like this is like how we've always done it. It's always been obtuse. So
it's not a massively, like I said, it's not a massively approachable game, but that's why I say don't read what the game tells you, read what someone who understands it and then can just explain it to you in simple terms. RX Gaming, for example, if I want to learn a new weapon, I'll go into, I might go to the training bit and I'll get the weapon out and I'll try the combos out. But RX can tell you it in such a quick, succinct way where he's like, the combos you want to be doing are this, and this for this reason. But you can also throw one of these in, or here's a combo I've worked out that lets you do like an infinite attack, or lets you, all these things. And that's the kind of stuff that you could learn from the game, or you could get someone that knows what they're doing to tell you about it. And that works for killing monsters. And I think to make a game like this more approachable, because there is a lot of elements to consider. Like you say, you've got the wire bug, you've got the food, you've got all these things, breaking things, how to upgrade your weapons, what items you need, Parker. All these questions we have can be summed up so quickly by people like, off the top of my head, Gaijin Hunter, RX Gaming, 269, can't think of any more, but like those guys who can explain it to you. And I think that what you get out of Monster Hunter when you play it, because it is, like you say, it's a social game, so you have a social element to it, but there's also the element of improving and trying out new weapons and feeling cool while you're doing, like, when you pull off a sick move and you happen to perfectly counter something at the right time, and at the same time as you knock them down, you break their face, all these things that happen at once and make you feel good for playing the game. I think it's worth putting the time in to just try and understand it by learning the best way you learn, and that could be watching a video. There's just like when I remember playing with Ryan once. This is 5 years ago maybe, and he happened to pull off the massive attack that he had at the exact moment the final boss monster enraged, and as he enrages, his like ears, or not ears, they're like horns prick up, and as his massive attack hit him, he knocked him out of the rage, broke the head, did the massive attack, knocked him down. It was just like all these things lined up so perfectly, and it was like, that's why you play this game, because that was cool. And we still talk about it 5 years later, like, oh man, do you remember that time that you just did that big attack and knocked that monster out, and then it was, it was sick. And that's the kind of thing you can't learn if you're bashing your head against it and not having any fun by learning it. So
all those things lined up perfectly for Ryan, and similarly, everything lined up perfectly for this game to sell super, super well.
We still gotta talk about Smash.
We haven't done Smash.
No, I didn't know if we were doing this.
We're probably gonna yeet news, to be honest with you.
Long story short, it's selling real good. Let's talk about Smash.
So Smash, I did a while ago. I don't know. Did I tell you that I did the coaching session with the top player before, Parker? I did one with DeBuzz. Yes, I mean, the day before yesterday. Was it yesterday?
No,
it was yesterday. It was yesterday. My brain was fried after doing this, but we'll get to why. I did a coaching session with Tweek who is the number 3 player in the world in Super Smash Brothers Ultimate and used to main Pokemon trainer.
Hey,
Exactly. Yes. So that session was very eye-opening, and it wasn't even like it was like a good balance of like the first session that I didn't feel like, now when I initially did the first session I was like, that was good, I feel like I learned something, but now I feel like I learned nothing in that session at all because it was just like basically the first with the buzz, it was like, man, I'm a top player and I'm so much better than you are, and here it is, you know. But with Tweek it was like, here's what you're doing wrong, and I could see that by him just playing the game against me, right?
Yeah.
And also it was like the way that he approaches the game, and he's not like just trying to like overwhelm you, he's like calling out habits as he plays, and that's just his play style. That put more into context a lot of what I'm doing wrong is playing with people that I can do the debuzz thing.
Right.
Or it's just like, I can just hold forward. And because they have this idea in their head that they're like, he's really good at this video game, I'm not going to challenge him, you know? So it's like, okay, I can just run away and do whatever I want.
Yeah, you get away with a lot.
Right. So playing with Tweek was like a little bit of that, but also because he made the Pokemon trainer, he was able to like point out like, oh no, Ivysaur's bad at this, Squirtle's bad at this, Charizard's really good at doing this. And the other bonus was because he knows Pokemon trainer, he was able to like identify things that I do well with the character. Like the buzz was like just looking at me using Pokemon trainer as somebody that understands the game broadly and is like, that's probably not a good option because this and this, and is not thinking about like the character specific strengths. So like an example is like, oh, you full hop a lot with Squirtle, maybe don't do that. But with Tweek it's like, oh no, it makes sense to full hop a lot with Squirtle because he's small. So it's like you can get away with stuff like that. And
so he agreed with you and that's why you like him?
No. That's not
basically, Max.
That's not even close to what I'm saying. What Tweek focused more on is like bad habits that I do just like as a player overall, because what like the buzz, I feel like that session set me back because it was making me not do things that worked. What Tweek said was no habit, especially if it works in some instances, no habit is something that you need to discard. You just need to get better at deciding when to use that and when not to. So in the buzz, his reasoning was more so like, oh, this is bad because I know how to punish it, so don't do it anymore. But with Tweek, it's like, this option works for you a lot, clearly. So keep doing it, but know when not to. And like watch more. Like basically Tweek's telling me to respect people more. Like that's basically what Tweek's lesson was like, watch your opponent more often than not. Because
I mean, also in that kind of thing, if somebody punishes something that you do, then like you're able to use that as a fake out opportunity later, maybe, you know. I mean, I don't know what the specifics are, but like like those kinds of things were like
that was like the biggest thing for this, like for DeBuzz's lesson was like, this is a Super Smash Brothers character guide lesson, right? But Tweek, his lesson was like, this is game psychology, you know, like this is competitive video game theory, you know, like that was more so with the lesson focused on. And there was just like a lot of things that like I was like, I came into the session, both sessions, having a pretty good understanding of the game, and I know that I'm not as good as I can be. So like that's where a lot of the times Tweek was like, because I was like, hey man, if there's any, I know you're freaking top 3 in the world, you almost won Evo with this character, if there's anything that I'm not doing well with this character, tell me. And he's like, no, you get the character, you just don't think about the game outside of the game.
No, just leave it. Yeah, you don't think.
No. See this? You don't leave you coming for me. But anyway.
Sorry, can I just, were you mirroring characters? So were you playing
No, he was using Sephiroth, who's like one of his new mains. Or like, he's Tweek, so you put 2 hours into a character and be the best with the character. Like,
another question: when you said before that he was calling out habits, was he calling out your habits? So he was saying like, you do that, you shouldn't do that, or was he like calling out an opponent's habit? Like, what was he?
No,
what
calling
was
out my habits, like
Right.
specifically, like, and not even necessarily like something as simple as you always pick this option. He's like, your mindset is always here. So therefore I know because you want to get to this end goal, you're going to do this. Right. So a good example is like, when you're in disadvantage, he's like, you double jump out of disadvantage a lot. And that's not inherently a bad option, because jump is a very good option in Smash. It's a fast option. Not a lot of characters can like actively chase you, especially if you're a character like Squirtle or whatever. Like Charizard's really the only one that like, maybe if I double jump, you can chase after Charizard. But even then, it's like I could jump again. I could do spot dodge. I mean, air dodge. I can switch. I can do blah, blah, blah. But it's just like the timing of like, oh, shoot, I'm in disadvantage. I need to get out of disadvantage. Let me get out of disadvantage. Rather than saying like, okay, I'm in disadvantage. And what does that mean for the person that I'm fighting, for the character that they're using, all that stuff? Because what I'm thinking is like, oh shoot, I'm in disadvantage, and I'm putting what I'm able to do on my opponent, right? Where it's like, I'm in disadvantage. What if I get Charizard up beat, and I'm dead? But there's like characters where it's like with him specifically, he's like, you could have just took those hits and been fine, because I can't kill you there. Like, you need to know how much commitment it takes for me to be able to hard punish you and kill you for it. So
you're still thinking about those like 7% instead of the fact that you're gonna get KO'd or something like that. That you can absorb some stuff and still make some things happen against them instead of just playing the defensive at that point or something like that.
So, and he's like, worry less about the macro of the game of like, you want center stage, you want to be an advantage, you're Pokemon trainer, so you probably don't want to be on ledge. He's like, don't worry about any of that in a macro sense. Worry about it second to second. Pokemon trainer's not the best on the ledge, but if you're on the ledge and they can't do anything about it, go to the ledge. Right. So it's like, he pointed out that I overthought the game. The Buzz more pointed out like, you don't think enough. Right? So he tried to put me in the opposite direction.
But that's the thing about it. Like, the Buzz is definitely like, he's like, a lab rat. He's very calculated. He's even been like, they've seen him at tournaments with like notebooks, with laptop documents of this character dies at this up from Olimar's up throw at this %. And like, for all of the characters, he has a percentage of where these characters should die. He's extremely calculated. Whereas Tweek is definitely a more freeform, like, hey, I'm just kind of going with the flow here. I'm not going to box out any options.
I would say Tweek is pretty calculated. He just absorbs it's kind of what I was talking about, the Monster Hunter thing. Like, Tweek is not like, he knows frame data and he does all that stuff, but he's watching and absorbing the information of like, you did that. I'm going to keep that up here.
Well, yeah, that's
you
what I'm
did
saying.
that again.
I think, but
I'm keeping that up here.
But that's the thing about it. When I say that, I mean like, he does that in the moment, opposed to the Buzz is prepping for these matches.
Yeah, the Buzz is like,
yo, I want this match to go a certain way, and I'm waiting for them to do something like, something specific where I could call them out and just start eating off them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And
so yeah,
what I'm saying is like, I think that Tweek's approach to the session and how he teaches overall, because he talked about that, like how he goes through this generally and stuff like that. I think is a better approach, because like the Buzz is like, you can be a robot eventually if you just know all of the, like this stuff. But like with Tweek, it's like, you can have
Sam Dullard versus Reggie, right? Rocket Power.
Yeah, exactly.
That one.
Also, just a disclaimer. This is in no way trying to throw shade or say anything bad about the Buzz.
Yeah, you just want to throw shade. You just want to throw shade at me. I get it.
Well, yes, but I'm just making sure, because remember, you the one that don't live in New York for me. Now, if the Buzz come to me and he got some words for me, or he put me on my ass.
But I mean, no, I'm not necessarily saying anything negative about the Buzz. What I'm saying is, like, I think that that's a bad approach when you don't play the character, right?
I feel you, and I know you're not. Look, I know you aren't saying anything bad, but just how people interpret things on the internet in general, I just want to clear the gray line.
Well, I think the other thing is like, it's not necessarily bad teaching. It's just maybe not bad. It's not applicable teaching for you and
For
the way
AJ,
you
yeah.
play.
It's just different
Somebody
approaches,
else who's
isn't it?
another lab rat or whatever, and like likes to overthink things, or not overthink things, but like, you know,
Does it
really
naturally.
study up on it or whatever, and that's
Yeah.
the way they prefer to do stuff, then that would be perfect. And the other way around
Yes
might not
and
be
no.
helpful.
Yes and no, because like theory crafting will only get you so far. Like the whole thing about being a lab rat is like, in theory this works, and then you try it, and most times it won't. Like even within the session with the Buzz, he's like, when I was playing him, he's like, don't do this instead. And then we got to a certain point where it's like, okay, we're not really getting any further by just playing. Let's watch Pokemon, like high level Pokemon trainers. And then he watched them play, and he's like, oh wait, you do all that stuff. Like it's like they're doing the same stuff I was telling you not to do. They're just doing it better, you know? Like their timing's better, their execution's better, like that sort of stuff. But the general game plan, that theory crafting, you get that. That's not your issue. And that's what Tweek was like laser focused on, where he's like, again, obviously, if you're winning, even if you're beating people that are like worse than Tweek, like that's for a reason. Like they're good options. Again, it just depends on the situation and all that stuff. And like all that, like I came in there and I was thinking like every single game that I play with this man, I'm going to get 3-stocked. I'm not going to win. I beat him. And I also didn't really go any matches with going 3-stock. I think I got 3-stock maybe twice.
Is there any evidence of that?
Yes, I actually recorded the whole thing. Actually, yeah.
Can't even get actually by AJ. I can't believe it.
Oh, look at that.
Lee, why?
What's up?
Hi. Why do you not need coaching, or is it just not something you're interested in?
Oh
Like,
well, I'm.
He told me to do it.
Well, I see.
Yeah. I told him to do it because for someone like me who's such a Smash Bros elite, I don't think I necessarily need. I don't necessarily. Excuse me.
Footage to the contrary.
I'll let you talk.
Let
that
the man
all-
speak. Let the man speak.
Okay, speak.
Thank you, Max.
All I ask is that we're honest
to
when
the
we
left,
talk.
AJ.
That's all I ask.
I mean, even honesty sometimes can be subjective. What's true to me.
No,
don't
it
necessarily gotta
can't.
be
There's
true to you.
on-camera
Like
evidence.
it is what it is. But I mean, regardless, right? So, as far as the training thing, right? Like on a real note, I guess I wouldn't necessarily be against it. And I don't think AJ necessarily felt like he needed, training or anything. But, it also helps that, like, hey, I can do this as content and I can, like, learn some cool stuff from the top. Exactly. So it's awesome in that regard. But as far as my character specifically as well, like Lucina, the only top player that used to play Lucina is MKLeo. And granted, he's the #1 player in the world, but he doesn't play Lucina anymore. And also, me and AJ have had this talk about just, like, his teaching style might also be kind of adjacent to something like the Buzz's, because MKLeo just has this raw, natural talent.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, it's going to have a similar, like outcome, but it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah. Like
MKLeo's like, just win, dude. All
yeah, exactly.
Just
Literally, just win. Just knock them off the stage, And it's like,
So easy.
I don't think that's necessarily going to help me. And yeah, other Lucinas as well don't necessarily play my style of play, because Lucina, more times than less, they're just jumping around and looking for a rush down opportunity and just want to swing the sword. And I am a bit more patient in my approach, because I see Lucina, at least in my experience, I get better results in that nature. Only because a lot of people just expect you to run in, and when you don't run in, it's like you have specific room to do certain spacing and Like AJ says, I just throw out my Lucina's random neutral B move. It's just like a joust, with her sword. He says I throw it out like a degenerate. But the truth of the matter is,
no, I say that in response to you saying that I throw out my invincible combo breaker option like I'm a degenerate. Again,
like I was saying, in reality, that is Lucina's farthest reaching move. So it throws people for a loop sometimes because they don't think I'm actually going to reach them, and then they get poked in the face with a sword. And it's awesome. Well, I love it.
Yeah,
it's the best thing ever.
That's a lot.
Hey, ask AJ about it. AJ knows how I feel.
See, but the thing is, like, that's a lot of stuff that Tweek touched on too, right? Like, I think you're also in a similar boat to me, where it's like we're carried by people being dumb. Like we're in the realm where it's like we know
we can never be the same.
Yeah, I know I'm better than you. But again,
Alright,
on-camera evidence. You want to play after this?
Anyway.
You want to stream this? Exactly.
Yo, bro.
Take it to the streets. Take it to the streets. I want to
That's
see this.
crazy.
We have
for the summer, for the summer,
capability.
For the
We can
summer,
do it
right?
on this.
Look, right? Because me and AJ, right? We were the other day when AJ was doing his Pokemon Nuzlocke. He also does that on what day, AJ?
On Tuesdays usually, but
On Tuesdays on Twitch.tv/fanatixfour. But we were chilling and we were watching AJ and we were all talking. And I forgot how the topic came up, but basically, we were talking about how like in Japan they have very strict laws for like gambling and like get video game stuff having prizes and whatnot. So I remember there was a Smash player from Japan named Kameme. I heard that he had won a tournament and his prize for that was a headset and 60 pounds of rice. So yeah, Parker. Like
60 pounds.
60 pounds.
It's an investment, dude. He's about to open a sushi restaurant.
There you go.
See, so look, then we started getting into a whole thing about, what if it was fried rice? Like, what if, like, this rice going for on the black market? And basically, we came to a point where it's like, we should actually throw a tournament where the prize is rice.
Yeah, and so, like an obscene amount of rice.
Yeah, so me and AJ
want
are
to
gonna
mail
do
the
that.
winner like 150 pounds of rice.
We can mail the people in the U.S. That's cool, but like,
no, I don't care. I'll pay the shipping.
I will
pay the shipping.
I'm gonna give Max one of those like online shopping things.
No,
buy the rice for him. And then Max can go pick it up.
It's not the same.
I'm not shipping Max 150 pounds of rice.
I will ship it.
I'll be damned.
I'll ship it.
Regardless, for that same event, me and you could be the undercard. When we like a first to 3 or 5, whatever.
We play the video game all the time. All the time.
It's different when I don't gotta talk to you and taunt you in your face. When I get
you don't have to talk to me. The first time we ever played, what happened? Max was a witness to this.
We're content creators, AJ.
All I'm saying is our record is like, like set count. Our set count is at least like 10-3.
Dude,
at least.
Here's the question: have you ever played with rice on the line? I mean, that's the real question.
We play with subs on the line.
Parker,
raise the stakes.
Money is trivial.
We're playing for steaks now.
Rice.
You can buy rice.
We play for rice and steak. That's what you said. I'm down. All right. Winner gets a steak dinner. See, that sounds good, right, AJ? Come on, you like a steak?
Yeah, let's do it.
And it could be rice. I know you don't like French fries.
Again, cap. Anyway,
you don't like French.
It's lies. See, that's Lee's whole brand is to lie, like to throw, like to talk crazy about me for no reason, even though there's hours, days worth of evidence to the contrary on the internet that is easily accessible.
Here's the question.
You used to accuse me of lying, AJ.
Huh?
I remember when you used to accuse me of lying all the time. Those were the days.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody's going to accuse PlayStation of lying about the PSP and PS Vita and PS3 stores closing. That was me transitioning. If you guys want to finish up talking about the other thing, though.
But before we
final
start,
words. Feel free to say final words. Then say more Smash things.
I've got a final word.
Okay.
I do.
How
too.
are you, Parker? It was a very quiet time for you. How you feeling?
I have a lot of thoughts on Smash, obviously. So
I'm done. Well, to just leave it off of the Smash thing, we can get out off of that topic. My also thing for me right now is that I've been into other games, like I told you, like the Clash of Ninja and whatnot, blah blah blah. My main thing is because before Corona, like at the start of 2020, I wanted to play Smash competitive, and I started trying to do that and going out to locals and whatnot. But then obviously Corona, and this game online sucks. So it makes me.
Does Naruto too?
No, Naruto has a way better netcode. It's a matter of like it's so little of us, Like, but Smash's netcode just like you know how it is. Like, it's a different game offline, And I really want to do it offline, but I don't know when that's necessarily coming back. So when that happens, I think that it would be worthwhile for you to like get a session with somebody. Oh, you want me to go get a session with Tweek?
I mean, you could get one with Tweek, yeah. Because
it's a great video if you haven't already done it.
Yeah,
we trained with you could do an intro where you've got your headbands on and you're running down the stairs.
Maybe I should get
honestly, I think it's worthwhile because it's like that is true to an extent, And like there a lot of like what you talked about, like I don't feel like I need it because I do this and this works for me pretty often, blah blah blah. There's stuff again, like factually, like not even trying to stunt or nothing like that. We know who wins more often than not. And a lot of the times when I win, it's because I just go for risky stuff that like on somebody that knows that, oh, that's a bad option. So I'm watching out for that. How can he kill me at every moment of the match? How can I die here? And what do I need to do to avoid that and only that? That is like the sort of stuff that like I think you can learn that will help you regardless of the arena that you're in. Like, because online, all that really affects is execution stuff. That's like, okay, how am I going to kill them?
That's the thing. Lucina is a very precise character. When we like
no
yes.
No, the only thing that's precise about it is Punish Game. And Punish Game isn't that much more. Lee, I watch you play the game all the time. Like,
yes, I'm saying, but you have to remember, Lucina, like, just because it's Punish Game is precise for sure.
I think there's ways to.
It's like
Lucina is a good character.
To play Lucina optimally, I have to play her at the specific range and be.
But that's exactly what I'm saying to you. You don't have to be optimal. That's the thing. That is the thing, because nobody is. And that's like the sort of stuff that I think you can gain off of like talking with somebody that plays the game at a very high level, because they're not worrying about that. Like they're not like their mind isn't on execution. Execution is like, okay, whatever. Like these are people that like, especially like the new class and like ultimate people.
I don't know if I'm rolling with that necessarily, because certain people that play very, very specific executable characters like a Sheik, like Void, you can't tell me that execution.
Yeah, but even Void will tell you that, because first of all, Lucina is nowhere near that. Lucina is not.
I'm not saying that Lucina is that, but my whole point is, for me, she's a character that has to play a certain range. And then on top of that, when she's dealing with characters that are zoning her, it becomes even harder online.
But
this is what I'm specifically talking about.
My point is, if you're getting zoned, there's things that you can do to deal with that does not have to mean meeting their offense with your offense. You can literally deal with stuff with that like that by standing there. Like, because again, like
taking hits.
Yes, actually. Yes.
All right, I won't argue it.
I'm telling you, like,
I won't argue.
I legitimately think it's worthwhile for you to do it. And honestly, I would recommend it for anybody that's like interested in competitive Smash, regardless of your level.
If you don't do it for AJ Lee, do it for me. Mm-hmm. That's all I've ever wanted.
That didn't help. I might do it for Max.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Look at that.
Do you got to get all the pictures of me like in The Simpsons, where it's like, don't forget you're here forever, but it's just various pictures of me like, nah, bottle, dummy in my mouth. Do it for her.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And we're doing it
PlayStation
for the PlayStation Store. Yeah, I don't know. Here we go. I put this in the news because it's news, but also Bianca asked
Q&A. Yeah.
It's true. I just pulled it up from Q&A and all that. They said, since you have a guest, maybe branch out and talk about the PSP, PS Vita, and PS3 stores closing. Do you think PS5 needs to / will be updated to play older games, especially PS2 and PS1? Getting those legally now is much harder, and PS3 emulation is still a nightmare. And also, we can branch this out to Nintendo some too, because that's going to be, I think, partly a question in the future is like what that's going to look like. Well, I guess we'll talk about that when we talk about it. But yeah, as far as the PlayStation side of it goes, any thoughts?
I don't think it needs to. I don't think it will. I think it will be nice.
Wait, it doesn't need to what?
To
have any backwards compatibility?
Yeah, have them like bring games forward and stuff like that. It doesn't need to. Sales wise, people are not gonna like be like, I'm not gonna buy a PlayStation 5, because that's always been PlayStation's stance. PlayStation is even worse with like legacy than Nintendo is. Like, Nintendo,
yeah, I don't think Sony cares about its like past consoles as much as it cares about its current console ever.
Yeah,
and the thing too is like, because there's so many. I mean, there's definitely first party games that exist on older PlayStation consoles and stuff, but a lot of them aren't. Like the majority of what makes PlayStation strong is third-party stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff just gets ported or remastered or whatever by the third-party companies anyway. So it's like they just don't have as much incentive. Whereas like Nintendo has like specifically strong, like Mario 64, like it's not backwards compatible right now, but they have incentive to do something with that because it holds some value. Whereas like, to be honest, like, you know, at this point, Sony could do a God of War collection of the like first 3 or something like that. And but like, they just don't have a ton of IPs that are old like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's less so that and more so that like the legacy that they do have isn't theirs anymore. Like
Right,
Crash Bandicoot, I
Yes,
think
exactly.
has like legacy in that
Oh,
way.
for sure.
But it's
Yeah.
Activision's now.
Mhm.
Spyro, I think, has legacy in that way.
Yeah.
Activision's also.
Mhm.
And the
We know
rest of
which
the
is
stuff
better,
that
though.
like, yeah,
know which one's
100%.
best.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Crash is garbage. Crash is trash.
Crash is
Hashtag Crash is
Like the new one or crashing like as a whole?
all of it.
Crash Bandicoot is bad.
Yeah, it's bad. It's
Is it
designed
bad?
poorly. Yes.
It's not even. Oh, I don't like this thing. It's just bad.
It's just bad. I think that a lot of people, especially like if you're like, I'm a PlayStation kid and I had a PlayStation, that's the game that you played. It's like, what else are you going to play on your PlayStation than the mascot of the thing? So it's like, I love this thing because that's what I grew up with. And that happens a lot with kid media. Is like, there's a lot of crappy kids media that people fall in love with because they're kids and kids are dumb.
Yep. Like 2D Mario.
I mean, I guess so, but no.
Mario or Mario?
I
Muria?
don't know, because now you
Pretty
put
sure
it in
it's
my
half
head.
cow.
Mario. I say Mario.
Yeah.
Super Mario. No, that sounds weird.
Well,
You say
so
both.
what's
I
funny
think you say both.
in British English, Mario is Mario, whereas it would be if you were saying Mario, or like the way like Bob says Mario, then it would be more like Mario in British. It kind of like
Mario.
they kind of tune up to being
Yeah, Mario. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I feel like you jump between both of them. Like I've heard you say Mario, I've heard you say more of the Mario.
Who?
Pronounces it wrong.
Me?
It's inconsistent. Yes.
Oh, I just say Mario.
No, not Parker. You.
Mario.
Parker just says
The
Mario.
Mario Brothers.
I say Murio. He's
Oh, yeah,
cow.
that's-
He's half cow.
That's true. I've heard
Goodness
Parker say that
gracious.
so many times. I've heard him say it so many times. But yeah, no, that's like design wise, it's
Yeah.
not there.
I think the thing that especially sucks, obviously, about PSP and PS Vita, especially, is that like I don't know, PS3. A lot of the PS3 games you could probably get Xbox 360 backwards compatibility. Like not all of them,
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
the funny thing about
But
it.
you know, there's a lot there, and like I think, you know, PlayStation especially doesn't care that much about the PS3 just because it didn't do super great, I guess. I mean, it did fine.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I
like,
don't think. See, the thing is, like,
I think it's just in general
I
they just don't care about their past.
yeah, and I don't really fault them for that
Yeah.
game wise because like PlayStation tried. It's not like they never put up like, their PlayStation Classics branding and stuff like that. Like they know how much like impact that stuff has had and continues to have. Where it's like when they say like, oh, nobody's playing old games, they mean that. For them, you know, like nobody cares about that until
especially
that's brought
because
up. Like people are like, oh man, now I gotta play all the PlayStation 3 games because they're taking them away. But 3 days ago, when that wasn't a thing, you were not thinking about the PlayStation 3 games that they're taking away. It's sort of like the Pokemon, like the exit thing, right? Where it's like leading up to that. I was like, I mean, whatever.
I don't care about Trubbish one bit.
Yeah,
and I was like, no
doesn't-
more Trubbish.
It doesn't matter. Exactly. It's like it's not going to matter. And then the game came out, and then they did DLC where they brought back Pokemon from the Pokedex, and people didn't even know which ones were gone. But if it was like a huge thing, you wouldn't be sitting there asking yourself, like, was Oddish in the game? Like,
oh no, I don't get to play with Numal.
like,
dude.
I think as far as the PS3 specifically, especially because like a lot of PlayStation and Xbox's identity is to be like the cutting edge of technology sort of thing, which means it's going to be more dated once it moves past it or whatever. So like that's kind of rough. It's like if you're going for graphics rather than I mean, that's not always the case by any means, but like if you're going more for, you know, realism instead of
the point. I think it's always
but
the case.
I will say it's more of a shame probably that PSP and PS Vita, because those games are more locked to those systems compared to the PS3. You know, we're like, yeah. So that's kind of like, that would be like, I mean, if the 3DS eShop, is the 3DS eShop closed?
No, I think
no.
It's
still open. It's still open.
Okay,
I just went out the other day.
Closed.
Yeah,
But the Wii shop.
But you asking yourself that?
Yeah,
I think again proves their point.
I also don't use a 3DS, but yeah, I mean, I think that's I mean, just for like legacy reasons and stuff like that, I think the best situation in general would be for all these companies to figure out what's the easiest way to set ourselves up so that everything in the future we don't have to think about it as much.
I think retroactively, like before PlayStation 4, I think their legacy hurts them more than it helps them, because like they have games that existed then, like God of War, right? But God of War was not good then. But it is now.
No one talks about
it. So like
no one talks about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
It's one of those franchises that's like, it sells 50 million copies a game, and I'm like, but who's playing it? Like, I don't know anyone that plays God of War, and I know people that play God of War 4, but who played the first 3 games?
But but even then, like that's not even true.
No,
like,
I'm saying within my circle, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, there's a lot
in your
of,
circle.
Like,
they're buying 50 million copies.
Yeah, they're just buying on like every copy. There's like a lot of PlayStation IP that have existed for a long time, and they kind of like occupy a similar space to like Metroid or Star Fox or whatever, right? Where
for sure.
They have a lot of
shit like Jak and Daxter and like
he did it. They have like a lot of cachet. You did. Like in
you
your
said
head,
I get one though.
No, I didn't. I never said that. I
said last time.
I never said that. But anyway, like in your head, you're like, man, that's an IP that I know about, and a lot of my friends know about it, and it's like all over the place. But like when you look at the sales number, it's like the sales numbers, the best-selling one did like 7 million, maybe, you know, and the average is like maybe 2-3, which is fine or whatever, right? But it's like it's not a game that's like, I don't want to say worthy, but like indicative of the like the cachet that they have in the industry. And God of War is very similar to that, right? Where it's like before then, it's like, you know who Kratos is. Like Kratos is like a video game icon and stuff like that, but he hasn't really lived up to that until PlayStation 4. And I think that people wanting to go back and play the older games because of the new games is a thing that they kind of want to avoid because it's like no, we don't want you to play that one. Like let us like, you know, clean it up and make it look better and like play better, and you know, like that's what they want to do. The insane trilogy thing.
Yeah, I do hope that,
and sell it to you for $70.
That PS4 is the beginning. I mean, just that generation in general. PS4. I mean, Xbox One, forward and back, and the Switch are hopefully all of the beginnings of like a consistent future for all these things, where like PS4, you're still going to be able to play PS4 games in some way on your PS6, you know, or something like that. Just because, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's all going to be for different reasons. I think like PlayStation, I think they're going to start preserving their games, not because of backlash, not because anything like that, but because it was last generation was like they're coming out of like, hey man, we got IP that matters. Very good video games.
Well, I wanted to say, because you know, with the shops
you did it
shutting
again.
down. I said shutting.
He did.
Shut it down. But that's why I stopped myself. I thought I was like, wait. So I don't blame AJ at all. With the shop closing down.
There you
go. With the shop closing down, the only thing I could really think about, because all right, at least for me, right, I have a PS3 that I have that is accessible, such and such, and majority of the PS3 stuff is physical. So like you could find the disc and it's not the thing. My thing is like the Vita. And is there even anything on the Vita that anyone like really wants to like, yo, this was a Vita classic, man? Like,
no, that's why nobody bought it. But because
was there
it's
any exclusive Vita games like that anyone cared about at all?
Yeah.
Ooh,
I mean, who's that? Define anybody.
That's a different question.
Define anybody. But that's the thing, though. It's like it going away is making people care.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the Mario thing. It's like, you know, like everybody who cared about it either has already bought Mario 3D World, or Mario 3D All-Stars, or has decided I don't really care about buying Mario 3D All-Stars,
Pretty much.
and then was either of those. So anybody that's mad really was only mad on behalf of the principle of it and for the theoretical future person who's going to have a Switch and not be able to buy those games, maybe, you know. Mario 35
the future person that's like, we're like 5 years into the swap's life cycle, and they're like, I want to like get a super cheap console, and I'm going to buy a Nintendo Switch, and then they buy a Nintendo Switch, and they can't have like this super like $10 a game experience that they want to have, right? But it's not their responsibility to do that. I feel like people feel like that, where it's like, oh, it's your ethical responsibility to preserve your property, and it's like, wait, but what was the last 2 words you said?
Your property.
Like
that's the key thing, right?
And
there.
I'm cool. Like it'd be great. That'd be nice to like preserve everything and blah blah. But I just think people like exaggerate.
But there are some things that y'all don't care about. Like, and
there's a lot that they don't care about. But like it being called in the question of like whether it exists or not. Like I think that if Nintendo never said a word about the 3D All-Stars thing going away, if they never said that, if they were just like, here's Super Mario 3D All-Stars outside of the shop, I think the eShop is a different situation.
Yeah,
because of how fast that they took it off. But if they never said anything about like, we're not printing this game anymore, that's just a regular video game. Yeah. It's very normal for a game to sell 10 million units and then you not be able to find it new anymore. Yeah. They just don't print them anymore. That just happens. That's economics generally. It's like,
the digital store is definitely a thing. But the rest of it is like, whatever.
Yeah, the rest of it is like, And there was like an analyst that said something about the reason why they did it is because even for Nintendo, remasters don't tend to do that well. So they want to do the thing that we're assuming and like bolster the sales, make people care by saying it's going away. Like they didn't care before, but you telling them it's going away is going to make them care.
Yep. Which, I mean, honestly, it definitely works because I think there's a number of people for sure. I know that I thought about. Yeah, I thought about buying it physically because I knew it was going to go away. And I'm like, dude, I've got it digitally, and it'll be so easy to find. There's so many copies out there. Like, it wouldn't be as easy as something else that sold 10 million or however many copies in its run, because more people are going to be holding on to it because it's a collector's thing. But at the same time,
I think it's going to be super hard to find physically. In the long run, because like Nintendo games are already hard to find physically at a good price because because they're Nintendo games, people hold on to them. People are going to hold on to this video game for dear life because they're like, oh man, Nintendo games sell for really well and blah blah blah. It's ultimately it's not going to be that valuable. It's going to be like the sort of thing that's like, man, Digimon cards are going to explode 20 years from now, right? Dragon Ball Z cards are going to be worth so much.
I think I'm going to take up Brad's suggestion and open these on stream. We're not open them. I've already looked through them, but this is very aside. My friend Mitch found all of his old Pokemon cards, and there's
you should definitely do that on stream.
So I think I might. Again, I've looked through probably the majority of them at this point, but what I haven't done is like get out my collection and like slot them in, because I found already a couple that it's like, oh, I either didn't have that card or didn't have it holographic, like I had it but not the holographic, or I have like a German Alakazam that's really beat up, and I'd love to have an English one that's not beat up, right? That kind of a thing. So I might do that on stream maybe this weekend. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, the PlayStation Shop, it's one of those things where like we're making a bigger deal out of it than we really care, but at the same time, hopefully now that we're in a new digital era, it's things moving forward will be more consistent just in generally. That's my thoughts. And with that, comments from the videos this week. Let's do that thing. And there it is. First, AJ, you made a video. Want to hit the highlights of it for anyone who hasn't watched or doesn't even know what a video is?
About
videos Max doesn't even know what videos are.
Videos are a series of red, green, and blue dots on your light up box that flicker different configurations of red, green, and blue to show you what your brain thinks is an image.
That's true. And sometimes there's little mountains that make your brain think it hears something. It's just like different shaped mountains in a big line that kind of work together.
So whenever you guys do a video, I get it shipped to me in like a box, and there's like a book.
Oh, there's a physical.
We're closing through it really quickly, but at the same time, you've got to like wind up the little thing that's like ding, 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 and you can hear.
Yeah,
Parker
don't tell people
talking.
that. But we're going to delete our YouTube channel, and you can only see our videos. You can find them in store.
In Flipbook and crank audio.
I get the limited run collector edition versions of all the videos. That's what I get.
So okay, side note, this is something probably you guys know, but I at some point didn't know and now know, but maybe other people out there don't know. The reason
there's a dislike button on YouTube. Did you know that?
So in old times, the crank thing made me think of this when they're like if you look at old timey footage of whatever, like in the 1920s or something like that, and it's all like really fast or something like that. The reason for that was because it's the frame rate was determined by, it was like cranked, and it would essentially take pictures as you crank it.
Yep.
So the frame rate just wasn't a consistent, like, I'm going to take 12 pictures a second or 24 pictures a second, or frames per second, that kind of thing. But instead, if they did it faster, then it would end up taking more, so it would slow it down more. If they did it slower, it would end up being faster. So that's why a lot of it's like super inconsistent, and I thought that was very
funny you say
interesting
that,
to find
because
out.
that's why Bloodborne is only 30 FPS. That's actually that's why you can't play Bloodborne in 60 FPS. That's
They didn't crank it fast enough. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
So Splatoon 3, you talked about it.
I did indeed. I talked about Splatoon because Splatoon, it's I don't know, it's just crazy to me that so many people like disregard Splatoon, but like Splatoon is like what everybody claims to want, basically, where it's like, man, Nintendo really doesn't make enough IPs, and even for the ones that they do make, man, Nintendo doesn't support their IP or whatever, right? Like Pokemon is a good example that I brought up multiple times in the video, where it's like there's so many like easy ways to like progress this series forward, but they do not do it. Splatoon actively does all of those things. It's like you're not waiting years and years for a new game, but the games that do come out are like noticeably better than the last thing. Like they drastically improve on every entry that they've done so far, and continue to do it with 3. And it's like unprecedented in that way. Like no Nintendo IP, I can't even think of an IP from any developer that has grown this quickly, even when they're like super successful in that way, and continue to grow that consistently. Because ironically, Pokemon is like the only other series that I can think of that's like, oh shoot, we're very successful, let's do something about that. With the first 2 games, where they're like, okay, Pokemon Blue, Red, Green, Yellow, very successful, let's put those video games in our next video game, so they get 2 video games in one. Like that sort of thing, right? It's the only other version of that where it's like, oh shoot, we have a huge fan base, we got to win that, like we got to maintain that.
It is funny how like it seems like they, thankfully, because it's a newer IP, they kind of like thought about that maybe ahead of time, or like at least when they saw it was successful, then that was like their game plan going forward, and like supporting it and stuff. But it's funny how they did it with Splatoon. And they supported ARMS, but it hasn't gotten the same kind of like, bring it back immediately.
But I think that's wise, because they're kind of playing it by ear. Like ARMS was successful, but ARMS wasn't like crazy.
Yeah, right.
Except like Splatoon sold 5 million copies on the Wii U.
Yeah, which is
like selling 2 million on
Yeah.
Switch as a fighting game is like, that's pretty good, but it's not like, oh shoot, we gotta like capitalize on
Wii
this.
U.
Yeah.
Like, huh?
Yeah. No, I'm saying like you said on the Wii U. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
matters.
That does matter. What do you mean? The Wii U.
Here's a
No,
great.
I'm saying that. Yeah, that matters.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just very used to you trying to like poo-poo everything I say.
It was.
No,
I think
no.
Lee said comma that matters.
Like,
instead of,
yeah,
like
right,
that
right.
matters.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
that
But
matters.
you guys see
Yeah.
what I'm saying,
There you
right?
go.
The whole podcast, this man has been.
I don't
coming
know.
for me.
I don't know what
Everything
you're
that I
talking
say.
about.
But yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy that like Splatoon sold that much, and then on Switch, it's at like 11 million now or close to it.
Yeah.
Like that's insane for an IP that's 6 years old. Like there are 20-plus-year-old franchises that have not done that. PlayStation, no, I'm joking.
It's true.
Xbox,
It's true.
even more
It's
so.
true though. Like
Yeah.
It is what it
Blinks the
is.
Time Cat didn't do that.
So here's all right. So here's some of the comments, and we'll keep talking about this. Andrew Beisheim, who's to say, said hybrid, maybe said hybrid of sorts. I'd rather have them take existing IPs and reinvent them to fit niches that are currently empty in Nintendo's portfolio. Looking at you, F-Zero, aka Nintendo Gran Turismo, or Star Fox, aka Nintendo Sci-Fi Grand Theft Auto, or Fortnite.
No,
Fortnite.
please no.
I don't know about Fortnite.
Don't do that.
But Splatoon is my favorite Switch game and possibly Nintendo game of all time. And if new IPs are as well executed as this, then bring them on. Also, rip Perfect Dark, which would be so awesome to see again someday as Nintendo's FPS franchise.
Nah, man. Perfect Dark's coming to Xbox Series S and X.
Hold on. We had the F-Zero mention. You gotta shout out Falcon. Like,
Shout out Falcon.
True. Yeah.
it's just necessary. Shout out to Falcon.
Mhm.
But yes,
Mr. Morris.
All right.
Yeah.
Waiting.
No, because I'm really thinking about what I want to say here. Because like,
You don't have time
You
for
want other
thinking.
people to go first, and you think
you guys can go ahead. I didn't say.
Okay. So on this topic, yes, very much so. I want them to do that. I'm in a very similar boat to you, where it's like I feel like the thing that a lot of people try to or say that they want with Nintendo IP that are not like actively like supported, is because Nintendo's like that won't work anymore, so we're not doing that.
Yeah.
They are not willing to risk changing it like that because there are so many people that's like, I want this again. It's the Paper Mario's people, right?
Yeah.
And none of these IPs sell well enough for them to take that risk and hope that it's going to be like, it doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna get at. I was like, I know, like the dude said, with Star Fox, like a space Grand Theft Auto. It's like, yeah, we could do that, but what if we put so much money into this and then this just
no,
flops?
but that's what I'm saying. Like that, what I'm saying is like they need, like that's the only way that they could successfully do a lot of these older IPs if they drastically change them. The risk would be if they made a new game and it was exactly the same, because a lot of these things that were like really successful in the day and age that they were released and were uber successful is not anymore. Like the games that F-Zero and Star Fox and stuff like that, those are $20-$30 experiences. And even for Nintendo, when people are like, man, like freaking even me, like Kirby Star Allies, $60, like Kirby Star Allies in 2021 even is a game that has more value than Star Fox, where Star Fox is a 45-minute long video game.
That's all I wanted to ask too. Is anyone like familiar with like how well Star Fox as a franchise actually sells?
Yeah, like Star Fox peaked at like around like the $4 to $6 million. I mean, 6 million, 6
units
sold.
We're gonna find out.
So like it was successful, but it wasn't like
and what game was that? Like
lighting the world on fire. 64.
Probably
I think
64.
is the peak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the peak of Star Fox.
Yeah, see, like there's not like I get it, and Star Fox still stays relevant as we always say with like things like Smash, but it's like I can see a company not wanting to like.
But that's
are we really gonna make our
worse than that.
investment back here?
It's less than 4 million for Star Fox 64, and that's the top. It's 3.91, which like, I mean, still like that's
which is 4 million. That's 4 million. So.
Did you say 4 million? Oh man, I thought you said like 6 million or something.
I said 4, maybe 6. But yeah, like
you got it.
4 million units sold is very good, but for Nintendo, it's like, we could do Animal Crossing and sell 30 million in a year.
That's what Luigi's Mansion 3 did in like its first quarter, like 4 million.
Yeah, right.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, and that's I feel like Luigi's. Well, I don't know.
I think Luigi's Mansion is a lot more digestible than Star Fox because like who doesn't know Luigi? Like
I think the thing is like there's. What am I trying to say? Star Fox is interesting too because it feels like they have kind of tried a lot of different things, but like they haven't really.
But ultimately, they haven't.
They haven't, because like even Star Fox Adventures or whatever, the fact that it was a different game first and then they like repurpose it to be Star Fox, like something feels like they didn't go in thinking like, how are we going? Like, think first, what's a Star Fox game supposed to be?
Aren't most of their games on rails too?
Yeah. And that's what
that just doesn't work out.
That's
days.
what we're saying.
Yeah.
Where it's like I think Star Fox could be very successful, but they need to do the Breath of the Wild thing. That's what they need to do.
Yeah. We had said this before. Yeah.
They need to look on the outside of like what is Star Fox at its core, not gameplay.
Take a step back. Think
gameplay
about
does
what
not
if I
matter.
were Star Fox.
The thing.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry, AJ.
Make me feel.
Keep your thought. I just really want to know what Parker would do if he was Star Fox. Like, I need to know. Like,
what would you do?
What's the day to day? Like, how do you wake up?
Lots of combing, probably. That's my guess.
Parker, immediate question: how do you get out of bed?
I sleep standing up.
You do a barrel roll. You do a barrel roll.
Like, come on,
I can't believe I missed
Man.
I would have accepted like a
I'm
shine.
never
I would
letting
accept
you
the shine as an answer, but you
Never.
know.
Parker doesn't know which shine, Parker. Which shine?
I have
Yeah,
zero clue. Do a
I
barrel roll is the only Star Fox thing I know.
And
Okay.
Shine
Fair
isn't
enough.
even it's not even a Star Fox thing. It's a Smash thing, and it's not even a Smash thing. It's a Smash community thing. Like that's not a video game. Like,
Nah, it's there, bro. It's just it's Mandela effect. It's one of those.
Is it when he does the
it's his down
launch?
B.
Oh,
His
it's down
B. Yeah, the launch, the up B is Firefox.
What's the
He just
side
says
B
Hi-Ya
one?
or something, right?
What's it called?
Side
Illusion?
B's
Illusion?
Fox illusion. Or,
Fox Illusion. It is.
Fox
Yeah,
Illusion.
I looked it up at some point for a video.
Okay,
I know it's
see?
something illusion. Or I know Fox and illusion are there. I just didn't know if it was illusion Fox or Fox illusion.
Yeah, it's like one of those weird things. But before you get back to that, I just need to know one last thing. When do you put on the heavy boots? The space boots?
It probably like
At the start of the day?
Yep. Right there at the
right out of it, right as
You know?
he barrel rolls into the boot.
straight.
Fair enough. All right, I got it. Go
So
ahead.
yes.
Okay, so for Star Fox, I think the thing that they need to capitalize on is the fact that Star Fox has so much cachet in the community as a Smash Brothers character. Like he needs to feel like that. Like it needs to be Smash Brothers in reverse, where Smash Brothers is usually like, okay, how do we distill this character and put them into this game? You know, like have them celebrate their lineage and also fit into this. They need to do that backwards and say like, okay, what do people like about Fox? You know, what do people like about the world of Fox and the characters and all that stuff? And how do we make a game that people want to play in the year 2021 or further, realistically? You know, like make the game based on its core themes.
So here's the funny thing. I don't know why I thought about, something Star Fox Platinum Games. They made Star Fox Zero. But I feel like they would make they would do a good job of doing the like on the ground part of Star Fox, but like as more actiony or something like that.
That is Platinum Games that made that?
Yeah,
they did too.
Yeah, they made Star Fox Zero.
Max,
It's crazy.
So late for you,
Right? Yeah. Sorry, Max. I know. We're keeping you up so late. In the Monster Hunter talk.
Max wanted to be on this podcast. To be clear.
Well, I wanted to say it was funny because just yesterday when I was hanging out with my friends, we somehow came to the conversation of Beautiful Joe, and we went and watched the YouTube video and went down the line of it, and they mentioned how the dude who was working at Capcom with Beautiful Joe eventually moved on to do Platinum Games. I was like, oh. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, I didn't know all that. So, yeah, just crazy that you brought that up now for me, personally.
Next comment. So we're moving away from Star Fox, I guess, specifically. But Goatee Guy, 112112. 1122. Sorry, I almost got you confused with the other Goatee Guy.
There's multiple Goatee guys?
Yeah, there's
I mean, if he's number
1121. There's 121122.
So it's the Goatee Guy gang. Okay.
There's at least 11 million 221,122 of them.
It's true.
At least.
And Max, could you tell me what is a goatee?
I'm in it.
Okay, social experiment. Anybody can do this. No matter what, pretty much, as far as I've found, if you ask someone what a goatee is, they will not explain it without using their hands. 100% of the time, they will use their hands and point to their face.
Really?
Yeah, like that, isn't it? Yeah.
Never ask somebody and them just explain with no hands. Be like, oh, it's like a beard, but only like just your mustache and your chin, or like they
always dumb. Like you sound dumb saying that.
All right, okay.
You know,
if you ever find yourself in like a situation where you've been kidnapped and your arms are tied behind your back, just tell the kidnapper, hey, ask me.
And then your hands will break out.
It's the way the universe works, you got to use your hands.
Well, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, it's super, like I've done it a lot of times, and 100% of the time people have used it's especially fun with a group of people, which I mean COVID, so you can't have groups of people, but if Easter weekend, whatever, maybe you'll have family around and just like ask them like what is a goatee? And like 3 or 4 of them that do answer will be, it's like one of these. You're like,
yeah, one of those.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a goatee, man.
Yeah. Maybe some of them will look at you like you're stupid, but
I love how we haven't even gotten to his comment yet. We've just been on his name.
So here's the
I'm
comment.
going to need, hold on. One last tangent. I'm going to need a picture of your goatee.
True.
Ooh, goatee guy?
If your profile picture is not a goatee, you're not allowed to be called goatee guy. It's not allowed. It's not allowed.
That's
against the law.
That's the way it works.
Law.
Goatee guy 11221122 said, I do agree that some of Nintendo's criticized design choices really are for the best. I was surprised you didn't mention voice chat, because I think the lack of in-game voice chat has created a much more positive community. I do think that if Nintendo did more I do think that if Nintendo did more to make good on their ads featuring competitive play in stadiums with teams drawing up game plans on whiteboards, that it would improve the game's visibility. Nintendo's behavior towards its competitive titles has been that as soon as a competitive player's optimizations to their gameplay stray outside of the intended experience the devs designed, they'll lose dev support. And that's really inevitable to some degree. As a result, Splatoon doesn't grow anywhere near as much as it could as a recognized esport. As someone who thinks Smash could easily be bigger than Fortnite as a competitive game, it hurts to see.
That's a crazy one.
No. Free.
You think so?
Easily. Yes, because Fortnite just has the game as Fortnite. Smash Brothers has all the power of the combined IP that are in the video game.
This is true, but doesn't that make for like more of a hassle for things?
I think the thing I would say as not a Smash player is that probably, I mean, I don't care about watching Fortnite in any way, shape, or form, but there's an element of to where Fortnite can probably appeal more to casuals in that there's more of a visual story being told, as opposed to Smash has all the IP working for it, which is great. But when I didn't know anything about Smash and somebody showed me like a really famous Melee matchup between Link and Sheik or something like that, I remember watching it and being like, this is cool, I guess, but it was so above my head.
I think
a lot
of esports that like proliferate are the ones that people can identify with. It's not necessarily a story thing. It's like, oh, I played that game before, and I know that either I know how they did that, or I know that I like played this game and I've used that move and it's never looked like that. That is usually the thing that like garners intrigue with people. And it grows because of that, but it's usually hindered because Nintendo's like, nah. That is the thing. Like, I think that the IP alone is enough, but I think that it's also a very good esport because the game is approachable. It has a very, very, very low skill floor.
I guess I definitely agree with that, but I think there's so much more of a difference between the nuance of the base level, like the skill floor and the skill ceiling. I don't care anything about Fortnite, but I think it's just easier to look at it as somebody who doesn't know what's going on and kind of understand what's happening. Other than the like building stuff, that's like
I was about to say, I don't think that's true.
But like just like people shooting people and somebody being like, I gotta run away from someone. Like we've.
But it's never that simple. That's what I mean. Like I think like with that argument, even more so, Smash is that like you can see what is happening. It's like he hit him because he did that.
Right?
Like,
yeah.
Fortnite is always like competitive, like high level Fortnite is like, oh, he shot me. I need to build a castle. You know, and then it's like,
Yes.
what is happening?
Yes.
Like I think that
Build a castle. Come on. It ain't all that.
I mean, I
But
don't know,
yeah,
man.
nevertheless,
I get what Parker's saying though. Yes.
Yeah,
I get it.
Like,
Yeah, I get it. But I think that more so applies to stuff like Overwatch or like straightforward shooters.
right? Yeah.
But
That's
Fortnite is
definitely
very
possible.
much so not a straightforward.
I think
shooter.
Fortnite, it's just the fact that it's also free to play, so a lot of people have
Yep, that's the
a
big
little
thing right
bit of
there.
vested
Yeah.
interest in it.
Right.
Yeah, so that
I think
definitely helps.
that is the major buff.
Yeah.
But I do
But
think
for the comment as a whole,
I agree with what the commenter
yes.
says.
Oh, totally.
For what it's worth. I think that Smash Brothers could easily be bigger than Fortnite if Nintendo supported it.
I actually supported the fucking.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that time you did it worse.
Wow, that's a big one.
no, because I'm very adamant about that because it's like, damn, they really could. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry about that.
No,
Yeah,
It's
like,
like it's mad upsetting because like I said in the beginning, I was thinking like, nah, like that is not even possible. But I guess I'm just jaded to the fact that we've never got help from the community. Well, from the corporation in general. Like, well, not even general, but, like, more than
they do help, but they don't help as much
as they
people
could.
want them
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
And I mean, like the base level thing that people want is for them to just get out of the way, and they do for Ultimate, but that's not enough for people. So it's like they further complicate it and they make it harder for themselves because it's like but like Melee, I want you to support Melee, and Nintendo's like and I think that is where towards the end of the comment they brought up about like Nintendo, once people take the game to a place that strays away from the intent of the developer,
they're just not with it anymore. And it's like,
I don't know if there's any developer that doesn't do that. Because like Fortnite competitively, like Battle Royale and Warzone and Overwatch and all that stuff, they're playing the game as intended. It's just Smash Brothers for them is all of that. That's why Nintendo does have their own competitive scene, and they're adamant about like maintaining the competitive scene with Smash Brothers, but they want to maintain it in the way that they see the game being played, right? Where it's like, okay, we acknowledge that competitively items throw everything off kilter, right? So let's compromise here and say we want people to see the items and see the frenetic fun that, depending on who you are, that can happen with that. So we're going to put the items in, but we also acknowledge that that isn't very competitive, so we're going to put them on low, right? And then the competitive scene is like, I don't know if I want to engage with that. So then again, that's another part of it that kills it at that. Splatoon, I think it's hard for it to do that. As far as like the competitive scene to veer away from how Nintendo sees it, because like shooters, the end goal is very well defined and you can't not play it like that, you know? Like Nintendo's not going to be like, that guy, he learned how to use tech in Splatoon or whatever. Right? They don't care about the tech. They care about like the rule set not being like representative of the whole of the game.
Yeah.
Just like any other developer would be.
It would be, I mean, maybe more like if the clam mode or whatever was like that's the competitive mode now.
Exactly.
No. Like that's a fun side mode. That's not the real thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it would be. If competitive Splatoon was literally just like, we're only going to play Rainmaker and that's all we play is Rainmaker, then I could see Nintendo pushing back against that. Yeah. But they're trying to make the competitive scene with Splatoon and like their other like Pokemon, which that's more of a Pokemon company initiative. It's Pokemon, you know, like so I disagree with that side of it, saying that like it's about like the game becoming something that it's not, because that's not really their issue. Yeah, it's not that's not really their issue. Their issue is like the incentive that a company has for having a competitive scene of a development company is that it markets the game, and they don't want to market the game like that.
Yeah, right.
I spent a large portion of that question looking at pictures of goatees online. Did you know?
As well you should. I
don't know how I didn't make the connection that Kanye West has a goatee beard, but now I.
Oh yeah.
But now it's just kind of like it's just his face, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
But he's got like a goatee.
I mean, that's funny. It's also funny. Like my dad had a goatee for a really long time, and like it just made sense. And now seeing pictures of him with a goatee, I'm like, what? Who is this human? Like, it's just,
Do you get
Also-
your beard from your dad? Obviously, you don't get it from your mum, but like, did your dad
Oh my
grow a
God.
thick, luscious beard?
I mean,
he can. He doesn't very often
I was-
because it's white, and so he's not a big fan of that. But yeah, there was a little while that he grew a beard. Yeah, he's quite a hairy man. So that's a thing. Yeah. What was I gonna say? I don't know. Something good.
Yeah, something good. I'm not mad at it.
Oh yeah, it reminds me of that episode of The Office, which I mean, this only applies for people who know The Office, I guess. But also, there's
Well, hold on,
an episode
wait.
of The Office-
You gotta make the distinction because there is the UK office, and I feel like Max.
It's the
may or
American
may-
He's
Office.
not talking about
Indeed.
it.
I know
Yes.
both.
I mean,
I know
I
both.
know Parker's not, but I
Uh-huh.
don't know if Max has only watched the UK.
No, I
iteration.
know both. They actually,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
actually illegal to watch it over here, so I risked it all.
Oh, you risked it all just for the
Risked it all
Office?
just for the American Office, man.
I will
That's
say,
crazy.
having seen both of them and appreciating British humor as I do, I still prefer the American Office. I mean, if you
You're
care about
biased,
it at
though.
all and watch the
fine.
whole thing, then like that's
Is he?
I don't know. I
He's
grew up in
biased.
Europe, so like there's a thing there. Yeah, tricky
yeah.
information.
Parker
But
lore.
nevertheless.
I didn't know that.
But also, I think if the British Office had gone longer, maybe there would have been more character development, and then it
How
could
many
have had the
seasons is there of
opportunity.
that one?
Two, and they're only 6
Oh, it's only-
episodes each. so-
Okay. Well, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep, it's pretty short. But there's an episode
Yo.
where they can't remember if Stanley has a mustache or not. And yeah, Stanley's just one of the guys in the office. And so they have to like pull up a picture of or like a drawing of him, one with a mustache and one with not, and have the
Oh yeah.
people in the office vote like, is this one right? Is this one right?
Yeah,
and
like
then-
that's Stanley have a mustache.
Yeah. And then as he walks in, someone is like, well, let's find out. And it's covering up his face. And he's like, not thrilled about it. And then they pulled away and he has a mustache. And I was like, oh, he's got a mustache. And it's like, that's so true that like sometimes you just don't like, does that person wear glasses?
Just
I
their
truly
face.
don't know.
Yeah.
When I shaved my face for November and just had the
Mhm.
mustache,
Uh-huh.
and I went into work and saw my boss, and he was like, I was like, "You're right," and he's like, what's this? And I was like, "Oh, just a mustache." He's like, "So did you grow a mustache?" I said, "No, I just shaved my beard." He was like, "Did you have a beard?" And I was like, well, I mean,
Yeah.
I've had this since you've known me. He's like, "Oh, I
Uh-huh.
didn't know."
So the funny thing is, I think the difference between, even though it's much more hair, the difference from beard to mustache is less different than
Just mustache.
mustache to no mustache. Like this hair is so much more defining, I think,
Mhm.
than somehow the rest of it is. I don't know why that is, but like I remember seeing the episode of The Simpsons where Ned Flanders shaves off his mustache, and I was so perturbed.
Good word.
Yeah.
Facial hair really, it adds to your facial features and maybe hides some depending on, like
True.
as men, we
Mhm.
really don't see unless the man, of course, doesn't have a beard. You really don't get to see your other male friend's chin too often. Like
It's true.
the actual chin.
Yep.
You
The
know?
benefit of the beard for me too, I can choose my face shape to some degree where like before growing a beard was like college years at some point, and I was quite skinny. And then since then I've gotten married and like put on a number of pounds and stuff. But with the beard, you can't really tell. And then I have a couple of times had to shave it off. I'm like, man, you can see my double chin a little bit. Like, it's annoying that now I don't have the option, but now I've got the beard again, so it's fine. Where I can just choose to like, oh no, it's I've got a trim face. What are you talking about?
Did you all like always want the beard? Like, was it a thing you guys were thinking about like when you're like young teenagers and like, yeah, man, I want a beard?
Definitely sometime in high school, I was like, man, yes, I think yes is the answer to that for me.
Mine's always been sheer lazy. I used to shave it for job interviews, and I got a job, so I just never shaved again. And now it's been like 6 years. So
Mm-hmm.
It's been rocking with it. I feel it.
Yeah.
You, AJ?
Nah, I'm indifferent. It's like
I feel the
Exactly.
same as you. I think
Yeah.
like it just happened. I was like, oh, this is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the girls are telling me like, yeah, girls really love beards. I'm like, okay, well that's awesome too. Like, like,
Confirmation I
great.
needed. Yep.
Exactly. I didn't
And-
mind, and people like it. So goes
And the
hand in
girls
hand.
Also love this comment from typicality. Typicality. Goodness gracious.
wow.
Typicality said Splatoon 3 looks like a full upgrade. I know Splatoon 2 was as well, but I feel like 2 is more of a testing grounds for Splatoon 3, such as theming, weapons, stages, etc. I feel like, especially when it comes to specials and single player, they were fine-tuning for 3. Even though I absolutely hate damage up, I feel like it was a necessity to see what weapons could use a damage increase or some form of improvement to be more viable. I'm very excited to see what else they have in store for this game. Smiley face.
Which question is this? Sorry, because all of that went over my head. Pontificality. Got it.
There you go. You got it.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think I agree with it in the sense that, like, yeah, it's testing grounds for 3, but not in the sense that it's like, this is not a game in and of itself. We're gearing up for the next thing. I think Splatoon 1 prepared everybody for Splatoon 2, just as Splatoon 2 is preparing everybody for Splatoon 3. It's just natural progression.
Well, I want to ask AJ, because I feel like I've told you before, but I have never touched Splatoon in any facet, only watched over it. So as someone who has played Splatoon, do you feel like there's any, as far as like the meta goes, do you feel like there's just, is it a game where the weapons you choose matter more than your actual play, or is it play matters more than your weapons?
100%. Yeah. I think that, like, the weapons matter a lot more. I think play makes a difference, but the weapons, like,
overall, like, there are certain weapons you should never touch. And then there's probably
not
like a couple
necessarily
weapons.
that. No, it's.
Really?
I mean, it goes back to like what Tweek was saying. Like, there's not really in competitive games. There's no option that is completely off the table because people are not robots. So
that's fair, but that's why the whole thing is a meta. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you're playing VGC Pokemon, right? Playing competitive Pokemon, you more than likely want to bring a legendary that is not like a box.
Right, but the difference, like, you have to, you know, the difference there is Pokemon VGC is poorly balanced. Like,
I mean, we can do a whole video on that, but you know, like,
but that's the thing.
Let's not get to that right now.
That's the thing. Like, I don't think that in Splatoon there's not many weapons that are just straight up don't use this.
Okay.
Because it's not like that sort of game.
But probably, I'd guess there's some degree to which, like, you would want to have a combination within a specific team. Like, somebody has a roller, someone has dualies, someone has. I've never even played Splatoon. I know these words.
That was good.
You know way more than me, Parker.
There you go. But like, I would guess that's probably a thing where, like, having good combinations in the same way that, like, you don't want to like in an RPG you want to have a tank and a healer and a whatever, you know,
but it even goes further than that because it depends on like what the stages, because like, sometimes certain weapons are like you don't really want to have a big focus on that, right? And it depends on
the stages randomized
to some extent because some people are just straight up bad with rollers.
I want to know that. Are the stages randomized or no?
There's usually like a couple of available stages, right? Is that how it works?
That's how the game, like, not competitively, like just normally, right? Like so if we're talking like ranked mode or whatever, they cycle through, and all the other modes in the game, they cycle through 2 different stages, or 2 to 3 stages every 2 hours or whatever. But like in tournaments, they're like, this is the stage we're playing on for this round.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Set situations.
That's good to know.
And I wonder how those like benefit each team, and like maybe like, you know, mess up a certain strat that we were going for, blah, blah, blah. You know, like, I'm just thinking now I'm in my might need to pick up Splatoon 3 when it comes out.
Might need to,
honestly. Like,
yeah. The main thing for me with Splatoon that made me fall off is that it's too dependent on a team.
It's one of those games.
It's wholly around that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have enough friends that are like good at
dedicated
the game or want to get good at the game.
Right.
So
that's why my picking up of 3 is going to entirely be dependent on what the single player is like. Like, just because.
I think that's the thing for me too, because like I've told you, AJ, with Naruto Shinobi Strikers, it's like you need a team for that. And I don't want to just be queuing up with randoms all day.
Yeah, but even then, it's like, for me, for like Splatoon, it's not.
Do you want to queue up randoms all day?
No. What I'm saying is, like, even though it can be a competitive game, I don't think that its value is just the fact that it can be.
Oh, no,
I think that like it's like Animal Crossing, right? Like, there's people that still play Animal Crossing to this day, and that is their game. We were not those people. So it's like we played it and we had our fun with it, and that was enough. I think that is equally as valid. That does not make Animal Crossing worse. That doesn't make Splatoon worse. That just means that it has a shelf life for us, like every other game in existence.
Yeah, this game isn't about to stick with you forever.
Exactly.
But, you know, there are some that do.
Like for me, if I get 100 hours out of Splatoon 3, dope. You know, like I really don't care beyond there. And even if I get 20 hours or whatever, right? Like it can still be a game worth buying. And I don't have to be like the exact type of player that is dedicating their playtime to the game. Like
for sure. Like
side notes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like we know, competitive is definitely like the smaller audience compared to the mass fans of Splatoon. Like, not everyone wants to be a tryhard and such and such. So it's like, yeah.
You mentioned Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing's Bunny Day or Easter update is going on right now, and it's just funny how thinking about this time last year when we were
playing
so
that and complaining
mad.
about freaking Zipper
like,
T-Bunny.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was, and
He's
but
garbage,
then like
dude.
I was.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. Get him out of here.
He's
was
good
just
for
so funny
one
'cause,
thing.
Vote him
one
out.
thing alone.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Shoot him
Parker.
out the chute.
Yeah, no, it was just great because like last year because everybody was experiencing the same pain at the same time of like everything I do is eggs. There is no world that is not eggs. But then meanwhile, like I saw my godson Asher playing Animal Crossing, and he was like, "Oh, you've played this before. How do I get eggs?" And I was like, "Oh, a bunch of stuff. Get eggs from it." And he's like, "Awesome." And he was like, "Man, he's having a great time with all these eggs." And meanwhile, we were like, just ready to murder something.
I loved the eggs, and I'll tell you why. You could craft the eggs and the stuff that you
and
could
make a bunch
sell.
of money from them. That's true.
So that's, and you know, like everyone was on that grind, whether it was that or the turnip grind. You know what I'm saying? With the turnip stonks. But either way,
I mean, I think Fisher still like the thing for me was like I'd rather be fishing because I can.
That was also the time
I can get a shark and sell that for 30,000 bells.
That was also tarantula time, and that was such a fun
the
time.
tarantula setups, like bro, you made so much cash.
Loved it.
But I'm not like AJ,
that was such a good time.
I feel you on the fishing, but around this time, if you were fishing and you're like, yeah, I'm trying to get a shark, and then the water egg comes up, it's like, damn, like, dude.
That's what I'm saying. That's why the freaking eggs are garbage. Like, get them out of here.
Yeah, because the other ones
everything
like
else.
Honestly, if the water ones, those are the only ones. Those and probably presents maybe were kind of annoying, but like they're like trees, like whatever. Just like it's not wood, it's an egg. Like that's fine. It's not like you got fewer fossils. You just had more things to dig up, and some of them were eggs. But those water ones. Last comment from your video, man. We're just speeding through this whole podcast, going so fast.
Are we?
Sarcastic.
No, like you said, we could be here for 4 hours if you want, Parker. If your Friday's clear.
Brandon P said Nintendo has said they're all about providing games for everyone. I'd like to see Nintendo also make a game or two that are geared more for older players instead of porting them over from other companies. The best part of the Switch for me is that it introduced me to third-party games, which convinced me to buy a PlayStation, which has easily become my preferred console.
Really?
Interesting.
I think that is antithetical to everyone.
Wait. What's that word?
Antithetical.
What's that mean?
It's counter
Opposite.
to their thesis, what they are about. Like if they're a company that is for everyone, the point is for it's approachable at the lowest end of the gaming spectrum and also enjoyable to everybody else. So like if you're like, I'm going to make a rated M game because I know there are mature people, that then limits the audience versus making a game that is for everybody, where it's like the only real barrier to if older people are going to interface with it is like, I feel like a kid.
Yeah, themselves. Literally themselves.
You know, like that is the only actual, you know, that's the only thing stopping them. And I think Nintendo actually makes a lot of very mature games, but they package it like Pixar does. Like Mother, like hello? Like they like tackled the freaking like the Ku Klux Klan and abortion. And you know, like they have a lot of games with like
I think the thing is, I would agree with this in end goal, but not by means or whatever. Some better, fancier way of saying that. But like, I think having more games like Breath of the Wild or something that are like more of a, I don't know, E10 or teen kind of game. Maybe not even teen. I'm pretty sure Breath of the Wild is E10, but like, I know my the worship pastor at my church, he borrowed my Breath of the Wild, and his daughter has been playing it a ton. She's like 12 or something, I think. And I would like her to be done with it so I can get it back. But in the meantime, it's fine.
You better hope she doesn't listen to this podcast.
She's loving it, and she's 12. But like, that game definitely doesn't feel like I'm playing, a kid-ish game in any way. And there's tons of games that I don't feel like I'm playing a kid game, but that also feels like it thought about me as it was making it, or that kind of thing. And they don't spend a lot of their time doing those. And so a couple more like that, like Metroid Primes or whatever, where it's like, it is for everybody, but it feels like you as an adult are taken into consideration. It does the things like AJ, we talk about all the time.
But I don't think that that's necessarily an adult thing, because I think PlayStation game, like for the sake of the comparison, the PlayStation thing, PlayStation games hold your hand a lot, like a lot, and it's like the most of it is either like
I think that's because of new mechanics or because just natural?
Because their mechanics are usually press square to push the thing, like that is most
but what
of
about
PlayStation.
The dual shock motion analog blah blah blah, like.
The games that people care about are not the ones that are using that. In fact, those are like hindrances for them. It's like, you're using new interfaces. I don't like this. I just want to press the X button.
AJ does not like Mirror's Edge, confirmed.
That's not a PlayStation game.
Wasn't that a PlayStation? That was a
it's
PlayStation,
on PlayStation, but it's not a PlayStation game.
Okay, fair. I'll take that.
PlayStation games are like The Last of Us, Uncharted, like those games mechanically are very, very
hold your hand.
Like handholdy. Like I think the furthest that they get from that is maybe like God of War, Bloodborne, and Bloodborne is like Dark Souls extrapolated and just made it into a PlayStation thing, right? Rather than it being like, this is a game made by PlayStation 4 PlayStation gamers. But I'd agree. I think that they do need more Breath of the Wilds, but I don't think that has anything with it being mature. I think it's just them respecting players generally.
Yep.
Yeah. That definitely.
I agree. That's it.
And thinking more about your game design, because like it takes a lot of thought. Like it's really understated how brilliant things like World 1-1 are on Mario, where it's like, oh, okay, I have all the information I need to know just by this first little sequence. Just by playing the game, you are like introduced with all of the like overarching themes of like, this is what's dangerous to you and this is what's not, and this is what you do about that. Just by the game happening.
Yeah, it leads you into it. There was no one ever really had to tell me.
Be like, the Goomba's going to kill you.
What should you
need
do?
To jump and hit this block to get the item and all that stuff. Just by pressing buttons, you learn, oh, okay, this is how I play this game. And that's Breath of the Wild does a more like complex version of that, where it's like just by experiencing the game, you learn the game.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. I definitely agree.
So there's that. And that's all the comments for your video. And now we're going to go into the ones for mine. And we don't have to talk about these super long. They'll be pretty easy because we talked about Mario dying last week. So
we did.
Look at that. But I thought, it's still
ahead of the curve.
So I talked about the Mario anniversary and that I thought it was better than people are giving it credit for, mostly I think people in general, if again, like you said, if they didn't talk about the fact that these games are going to go away, I think people would have generally been just happy with it overall.
It would have been fine. Yep.
Yeah. So Devil Elephant Searching for Platinum said,
let us know when you find that.
True.
Or the M. I don't know if you're talking about the dev.
Oh, could be. Kamiya is over there you're probably blocked, honestly, is the problem.
Probably.
Really enjoyed 3D All-Stars to replay 64 and Sunshine. It hit right the nostalgic bone. And I loved 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. I didn't have a Wii U, so it was 2 new games in one for me.
Nice. You love to see that.
And there you go. That answered the question.
Like the opposite attitude that like capital G gamer TM have, where it's like, it's on Wii U. I know I didn't have a Wii U, but this game came out in 2013, so therefore old game. Therefore, I don't want to play it.
Or at least I deserve a big discount because it's old.
Yeah.
But I've told you, AJ, as well. Like, I played when I got my Wii U. That was the free game I got, and I played the hell out of that game. Like, and to get it back again, I was excited. I was like, yo, I can't wait to play this again. It's been so long.
It was the same thing for me. Like, that was like one of the only Mario games that I've ever completed. Like, I played through Mario games, but I'm not like, yo, I'm getting all of the things.
Yes.
But 3D World, I was like, yo, I'm getting
all
everything.
the stars, all the stamps. Like, so I was like, that game is just inherently fun. So I can't even really get how anyone would want to complain about it. Like, but
I will say too, like I think just game design wise, Champions Road, its existence, its way of the way it's implemented is really good, because I think it's the people, like, I wanted to beat Champions Road for not the clout, but something like that. I'm just like, I also beat Champions Road, just like the rest of us.
Did you do it?
Oh yeah, I did. And it took a long time, but I did it. But making you have to get all the stars and all the stamps and stuff like that. And like, I think the game is it's tailored well so that for somebody like Ashley who plays games but like dies more often, just isn't as good at games because she doesn't play as many, playing the normal way where she gets some of the stars and some of the stamps but also doesn't really care that much, but she'll still die and have a hard time. And so like there's a good challenge level there for her not to try to complete everything. For me, if I'm not trying to complete everything, it's a really easy game for most of it, just to like beat a level, pretty easy. But to get all the stuff is more challenging comparatively. So like having challenge throughout the game to complete everything so as to be able to do the challenging thing that I'm aiming for made me enjoy the game itself more, which was like, I don't know, just super good game design, where like usually platformers, that's a hard thing to balance, is like, how do we let new gamers or young gamers and experienced gamers both have a fun time with this and not feel like with Mario Odyssey, I mean, I love that game, but also I was able to break a lot of the mechanics or a lot of the areas because, I mean, and a lot of you were too, once you figure out the double hop jump and all that stuff, like there's a lot of challenges you can just jump right over because, and they knew you could do that, but like
exactly, that's how they
usually hid coins in these things where you thought you shouldn't get there, and it's like, oh, here's a reward.
Yeah,
and so like that's how you solve that, right? And I feel like all the best, like every major Nintendo franchise that's like successful all the time, it has that. They have so many different Smash Brothers, Splatoons, rewarding Pokemons, where on the base level, it's like, oh, this game is just this to me. It's the 20-hour campaign. It's like playing free for all 4 players with my friends or whatever, right? But in reality, there's so much more to the game, right? Yeah. Like that is like
which is what makes games like
games for everybody, sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's what makes games like Super Mario Party or the story mode of Mario Tennis Aces or something like that feel disappointing, as we've come to expect a certain level of like depth in multiple different directions.
Yeah, talking to everybody at once.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I didn't know that Mario Aces had a story mode.
It has and I wouldn't say a story mode even. I'd say it's called the adventure mode, I think.
It's kind of like a boss rush sort of situation.
Pretty much. I was gonna say, is it kind of adjacent to like how a Mario Kart would just like, all right, you got 100cc, 50cc, and like that's what you do.
Sort of. I mean, it's literally like
really. It's more like World of Light. It's like World of Light.
Okay.
Yeah, but way shorter. Like it's probably 5 hours long. Which is
not a negative.
Right. Yeah.
It should have been 3 hours.
Oh man. Yeah. But yeah, that's something where like I enjoyed it, but it didn't feel like a story mode. It felt like just challenge levels in a row and stuff like that, which like they were fun in and of themselves, but it didn't feel like I accomplished very much by the time it was done. And even though the game's mechanics, fantastic. Like I loved playing Mario Tennis, but I personally I just don't like playing multiplayer very much. And so I didn't have much to do after that, so that was a bit of a shame. But next comment, Ethan Kim said, I actually haven't played any of the 3D All-Stars games. So without any nostalgia factor, I can pretty confidently say Sunshine was the best one, in my opinion. Getting to play that for the first time was quite fun. Galaxy is solid, but not as good. And 64 was unplayable. But
agree,
2
but
out
I
of
disagree.
3.
I think that they progressively get better, but 64 to me is like not.
It's not unplayable. It's just jank. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I think
jank.
it's
which to me is the same thing. Like,
It's
I don't
not-
want
Here, I'll
because
finish
you
the
can-
comment, and then,
Yeah.
but they say, but 2 out of 3 good games for the price of 1 is still a great deal. It was crazy to me that actual fans of all 3 games still complained that it wasn't a good deal. That
because
is
people want charity. Like you could like
Yes.
objectively, it's a good deal. Like try to
Mhm.
buy all 3 of those games.
funny.
You know, and,
Today,
and
and
you're
like
going
in
to
their original format on
Mhm.
64, on GameCube, and on Wii. You'd
Yeah.
probably have the easiest time with Galaxy.
Yeah, for
But-
sure.
Yeah.
I think it is funny. I saw a couple different people saying that Sunshine was the best, and I do think like it and
yeah,
Galaxy.
I don't agree with
So
that. But
they're
I agree.
especially if you're used to like if you started with Mario Odyssey and you prefer the sandbox in general kind of approach
Mhm.
to 3D Mario.
yeah, it's like
then
the
I
best
could
balance
see
of the
it's
3.
like it's better implemented
Yeah.
than Mario 64. I think there's some questionable decisions for sure. Like I don't like the fact that you go in and choose one specific shine and that's the only one you get.
Mhm.
But whatever, if you don't care about that, you don't care about that, and that's fine. But like it doesn't have, I mean, it does have a lot of jank, but it doesn't, it's more like badly QA'd jank rather
Yeah.
than something where it's
Poorly
just like these were the
designed,
limitations.
like, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it was even poorly designed. I think it was the limitations of the time that have just stuck with it, and it was
Which
like,
I
well,
think is the same thing.
I mean, I would
Because
disagree,
like
but-
design it's a series of decisions that you make. If
Right.
the decision you make is like, oh, we can't do this properly, let's do it anyway.
I mean,
that's
if
poor
moving the
design.
camera though, like if moving the camera is part of what a 3D game is, otherwise we would have gotten, if they were like, we can't do 3D camera perfectly, so let's just not do it at all, then in that case we would have gotten Crash Bandicoot. You know, it's a 3D platformer, but it doesn't have a camera involved. So like they did the best they could at the time, but because it was, you know, had some inherent limitations, then now it does feel janky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that like
I see what you're saying though as well.
yeah,
For sure.
I'm just saying like relative to Crash Bandicoot, obviously yes, Mario 64 is better, but
Uh-huh.
that doesn't then to me say like, oh, this could have been Crash Bandicoot, so therefore good game. You know, like, it's
Right.
like therefore better game, but still they made the wrong decision in not waiting until they could do this right. You know, like
You think so?
yeah. Because it's, I mean, there's so many games that people are like, oh man, like
I think
that era specifically, that era and like GameCube, a lot of GameCube, Xbox, like that generation too, was them pushing the boundaries of what was possible then in 3D, and that does not work very well. Like 3D, just even now, it's hard to get
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
But 2D games, it's like. That's why it's like I take issue with the like, oh, it's a product of its time, blah, blah, blah. Because there are games that are decades older that still hold up and are
Mhm.
better than games like Tetris is infinitely better than so
Come
many modern
on.
games. It's
come
true.
on, it's no, you're not wrong, but like it's Tetris.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if
I think Tetris is doing a lot less than Mario 64.
exactly. But that's
But
what
like
I'm saying. That's
at
my
that point, then it's you know, there's a degree to which ambition obviously factors in, and I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
the idea
I think-
there
I
would
think
be
you can
therefore
be-
don't go for ambition if you can't execute perfectly.
I think
Yeah, I don't
that-
totally agree with that part. Yeah,
I
like,
think I
but-
think that what I'm saying is be ambitious but be realistic. Like don't Skyrim your game. Don't say like, oh man, it could be like so vast and we can put so much in the game to the point where it won't work. You know, like I think that you took a wrong turn there. Like you can be ambitious but still work within your parameters is the
Mhm.
thing.
This is true, but I also like
It's
you know,
similar to like what we were talking about before with the PlayStation games or whatever, right? Like Grand Theft Auto 3 doesn't have to look like Grand Theft Auto 3. They could have made a game that looks like sells what they were going for, that worked with the technology of the time. Not
Mhm.
trying to like push the capabilities because you're inherently putting a date on like an end date on when this doesn't look good anymore.
that's true. I guess, and also Max just
Max, yeah, he just messaged. He said he's got to go, so it's the three of us now. Bye, Max. Thanks
Okay,
for the
bye,
fun
Max.
times.
Later,
Everybody,
Max.
go follow Max on Twitter,
appreciate
I
you,
was-
Max.
or follow him just in real life. You know,
It's true. Follow
around the house, whatever.
Yeah, down the street, you see him going to work, like, hey, it's
There you
nice. But yeah, I guess my thing is, right, I get what you're saying, AJ, right? If you can't do it the best, don't do it, but
or not even necessarily the best, just in a way that
it works.
isn't dated, that doesn't immediately date your game.
But
I mean,
but how do you know that?
Right. Yeah.
In that time, that's
I
my
think
thing.
the fact that it was mind blowing at the time says that they did do something right. I think we're always going to disagree on this in one way, shape, or form, and that's fine. I think the fact that it was mind blowing at the time says something good. But at the same time, they were working within their limitations. They might have been able to do even better within their limitations, and either were crunched for time, maybe, probably not. I don't think that was the issue. Or they just didn't think of the better thing. Like Banjo-Kazooie did a better job, or there was something like that. But in any case, I think between of this conversation, the fact that people are saying that they like Sunshine better is interesting because it's just interesting in general. But I think it is more similar to what we know now. So it's easier to kind of wrap our minds around it. And especially the thing that Sunshine does do really well is, even though I don't like the fact that you just do one shine per level, when you start out a level, it zooms in and it shows like, that's the thing you're supposed to be doing.
Specifies.
Go do that thing. As opposed to Mario 64 really is pretty ambiguous some of the time. Like one of the is it Jolly Roger Bay? Yeah, in Jolly Roger Bay, one of the things you've got to like go down, get the eel to get out of the pirate ship, the sunken ship, and then go in there and do some other things.
Oh no, it's not Jolly Roger. I just remember, isn't it Noki Bay or something like that?
No, in Mario 64. It's
64. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about.
But like, so you've got to get the eel to come out of there, but you go down there and it's like treasure in the sunken ship, and there's an eel there. What do I do? And you have to go see the eel and then leave and then come back, and he's just magically going to be gone. But like, you could literally be sitting there for 20 minutes looking at this eel swimming around and not leave, and then like only it'll happen out of frustration. Those kinds of things are like, like not super well thought out, but like at the time sort of stuff. Yeah, right. It's like
RPG BS sort of stuff. Like,
right. And it's the same, like it's the reason that it's not fun to play the original Legend of Zelda for the first time now, but it might have been it at the time because the like mystery of like, it wasn't even explained very well, but like that was crazy that happened.
Because it was way more common for like, this is the game that I have.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this isn't my NES. This isn't my Nintendo Entertainment System. This is my Zelda box.
Zelda machine.
Until maybe I get another game a year from now.
So like just arbitrary mystery was fine at that point, but then at this point, it's just kind of not anymore.
I think it is because of that. Because that used to be the standard. There's a lot of people that's like, that used to be the standard. So that's how I interface with video games.
I mean, I don't get that. I tell people like the games that we played, they were not like, people always give the argument of like Pokemon is like super easy and whatnot. The first gens we played, they should not have been that hard. Like it was like that shouldn't have been the case.
I think that's where I get caught up in that whole thing where it's like even those first gens were not hard. They were poorly designed.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And that's what gets back into you guys' argument of like, poor
it's not that it's hard, it's just that it's inconsistent. It's like weird. So I remember,
with Pokemon, it's not even a limitation on the time. They just
They just
I mean, a very easy example in case somebody's like, what are you talking about? My friend in 2018, I loaned him my 3DS and Pokemon Blue was on there, and he got cut. He beat Lieutenant Surge, and he had zero clue what to do after that. Yes. And he was like, Parker, what do I don't know. I'm just wandering around. And I'm like, yep, you would wander around until you decided to go back to Cerulean City, where maybe you noticed that there was a tree that you couldn't cut down, but maybe you just didn't notice it. And then you'd go back. And like, that's the kind of thing that like now in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, they were like, you should go back to Cerulean City. And that's, on
And
the
even
nose,
that's
but at
very
least
bad. It's very bad.
Yeah, it's super like it's not well done, but at least you know where to go.
Better.
Pokemon
Yeah,
for
right.
me, back then was Monster Hunter. It was like I knew that because of other sources.
Yes, right.
Like a lot of answers to the next thing to do, I knew it from the anime, or I saw somebody do it in, like on a freaking promotional thing for a Pokemon card.
Or your big cousin had to come and help you. Like, whatever.
Or heard about it on the playground or whatever. Like,
you ain't have no older figures in your life that like put you on like, yeah, you do it like this, that, and that. Okay, well, you're.
I was usually, I was usually that person. I was usually the one that people were asking.
Oh, you was Big Brother.
Yeah, literally, because like I have an older sister, and I have two older sisters. Neither one of them really care about video games.
Right.
And I have an older brother, but he's not good at video games. Like all he does is he plays like Call of Duty, like that.
Okay, I get it.
So he's like, even him, it was like, no, you got to do it like this,
makes sense.
I really didn't like. That's something. I just didn't have a lot of people that played video games in my life, other than like in high school, my friend James, we play like Mario Kart together and stuff like that. But I realized that's why, to me, Pokemon is a single player game, is because I had one like the trading cards weren't, because like I had other friends that had trading cards and they also played Pokemon, but I could count on my one hand how many times I actually traded another Pokemon with somebody else in elementary school or middle school or whatever. Like it just didn't
Pokemon
happen.
for me it was literally always a social thing. It was not always like Pokemon progressively up until I want to say X and Y like grew for me as I went on, where it's like, oh, and this is the thing. Oh, EVs and IVs are a thing now. And like I grew with it in that way, but it's always been a thing that like at the very least I'm like talking to my brother. I'm like, yo, we got to get all 3 starters. So let's start the game, and then you restart your game and you trade over your Pokemon, you give it to me and I hold on to it, and you do it again and again and again until we both have all 3. Like that sort of stuff. So it's always been a social thing for me.
Yeah, it's pretty much been a social thing for me as well. I remember being in like 6th grade and Diamond and Pearl came out, and they had little pre-orders like, yo, you could pre-order it, you get the stylus that comes with your version. And I couldn't wait to go and show my friends my version, because I had gotten the Dialga one, and then some of them had gotten Palkia. We'd be in middle school like at lunch, and we'd just play sometimes, and eventually, everyone finds out about a Game Shark action replay, this, that, third. You got your one friend that comes with 1,000,000 rare candies, like, dude, like, where'd you get this shiny Darkrai? Where? Oh, ridiculous.
So Mario.
No, but yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we
no. I mean, it's all of us.
We all do it.
It's a collaborative effort to get us off track.
I wanted to say about Sunshine.
Yeah.
The same for me. I played it as a kid, and when I was super geeked to get it back for the Switch, so when I got it, played so much of it. I feel like the key thing for me is, like you said, it's a way better direction in telling you what you actually have to do in the game. And I think the game itself I feel like the quality of life with movement and then just graphics in general, like the water in that game looks so beautiful. Like it's nuts. And it's like, yo, this came out like what, like 2004, 2003 or something like that? 2001? Really?
The only thing I'll say with that game, I think it's more approachable, especially in today's day and age. I do think there's more fluff in it than like it's much more of a nuisance to 100% than Mario 64 is. Yes. Even knowing what both of them are, like Mario 64, like you have to do the red coin challenges in all the levels and get the 100 coins in all the levels. But usually like that ends up being kind of part of the other things that you're doing. So it's not as obtuse.
I think it only ends up being that I think it ends up being that for you as somebody that plays the game and like that.
Well,
I think
that's what I'm saying is like if you
fluff.
want to
I just think there's less. Right. But what I'm saying is like,
no. Sunshine has way more of that by a long shot.
It does, but it has overall more content. So that's what it is. Like there's
not really
in Mario 64.
I wouldn't.
There's
like they have just just the same amount of worlds. Like it's not too far off.
Okay.
There's more worlds actually in 64 than there are in Sunshine.
But there's like all the challenge stuff in Mario Sunshine, and I wouldn't call that fluff. Just because like people don't like playing through them, like
right? Yeah, I mean,
they're not. I mean, challenge stars
like the flood areas.
Yeah, wow, that's nuts.
Areas.
The Mario 64 has double the amount of worlds that Sunshine does. Sunshine has 7, and original 64 has 15.
Yep.
I was like,
yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. Like Mario 64, it's I think it's less approachable, but once you kind of come to terms with what it is, it feels more complete in certain ways, or like consistent, as opposed to Sunshine, easier to get into, lower skill floor, I guess. It's not even skill floor, but lower just
no. It is. It is.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
A lot of people I've heard. I was just about to say, like, I only recently heard that argument, like when I started like looking more into Mario Sunshine speedrunning, and I just heard a lot of people have the thought of like, like this one is super easy compared to 64 because of the flood. And I'm like,
I think
true.
I can hear that. I can hear that argument, but I can also like I see where Parker was about to go. Where it's part of the difficulty is
but I mean both. Yeah.
Like,
so I think,
but it is also flood. Yeah, because it's like, oh shoot, I made a mistake. I can make up for that because I have flood.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's all that super interesting. Alexander Snow said, so in more the context of like the anniversary as a whole, or Mario as a whole, how about focusing on making great new games, props to Browser's Fury from what I've seen, instead of celebrating a random anniversary year that happens to fall in the life cycle of their most popular consoles in a long time, by selling a bunch of merch and lazily porting old games. Is a remaster of 64 too much to ask for? Apologies for the terribly long-winded sentence. From another perspective, 3D World plus Bowser's Fury looks excellent, but I haven't played it yet. And 3 Mario games for the price of 1. Who might I say, though? IDGAF about, I think that's I Don't Give a Fridge about Mario. I Don't Give a Flood. That's what it is. I'm so sorry. I just hope they have something more to announce for Link's anniversary, quote unquote.
I think that makes less sense, arguably, about like celebrating an anniversary, and it's not random. It's the 35th year. If they did all this on the 23rd year, I'd be like, all right,
like this is a really obscure year. Like,
it is a milestone to celebrate like the 5s and the 10s and whatnot, and like going back and saying like these are these games, and I think that like I agree. Like I would have liked a remaster or a remake. I think it's a
Wait, before you say that, right? I was thinking about it in my head once I heard you say that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is the remake / master not technically the one that came out on DS?
Yeah.
Isn't it technically?
For sure. But people want like they see Crash
Mario Odyssey, Mario
Insane
64.
Trilogy. That's what they see. They see Insane Trilogy and they're like, make that. But the thing is like, people aren't thinking about the nuts and bolts behind that. If they
never do.
Straight up made PlayStation 1 Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3 on PlayStation 4, just like up-resed or whatever, it would be garbage. It's already garbage, but it would be significantly worse.
I did not know there was so much Crash Bandicoot hate on this podcast. Like, and granted, right? I'm not mad at it. I just didn't know.
It's just poorly designed.
I didn't see it coming at all. I was like, yo,
because it's like there's so many things, and it like stuff like that blows up. Right, like when the game, like the Insane Trilogy released, everybody was so mad about this one level where you had to like the new level, I think it was, where it's like you jump. Oh no, it wasn't the new level that they made. It's like you jumped on the turtle or whatever, and a lot of people were dying there. They weren't dying there because they were bad at the game. They were dying there because the physics of the game suck. Like that's a sign.
Yeah,
and people similar to like what we were talking about with the 64 and the Sunshine comparison or whatever, people confuse poor design with difficulty, and like those things are separate. It's like they have the same outcome because it's like, oh, I'm frustrated because I can't beat this thing. Something is stopping me from beating this thing, but they are not the same.
Yeah, I get that.
I think that on this comment, like the thing as far as talking about the merch and all that, I realized that I don't really care about Mario as like
sentient
as
being.
Paraphernalia.
Yeah, like you didn't buy everything of the Mario thing or whatever.
Like I just don't care about that. But thinking about exactly the same things happening for Zelda, I am much more likely to buy more Zelda, just merch, apparel, whatever. I don't know.
Looks better. It looks better. It always looks better. Like no one
like,
wants a Mario hat. Like I'm good. Like it's only ever gonna come out on Halloween, and I'm never like.
I think if they did Mario right, like if they did. Like if they did a Mario console in the way that they should do a Mario console, it would look better than a Zelda console. Like I think Zelda, like
I think even if it did, I personally would feel less.
Yeah, it's because you care about the IP more. But I'm just saying,
look at the Joy-Cons. Those are way cooler than the Mario Switch as a whole.
I agree. But I think that like aesthetically, like they would theming like
a Switch.
Yeah, like when you said like wants to wear a Mario hat and stuff like that, blah blah, like stuff like that. I think Zelda's aesthetic is over designed. I think that if they do like a good design for Mario, it's like sleek and like pretty simplistic, so it looks better. But I get the thing of like you want to buy Zelda anniversary stuff because you care about Zelda. But
and
I'm
so
just saying like on the point of like who wants to buy a Mario hat, like I think Mario, like it would be more likely for them to make stuff like that looks good, that just anybody would wear, than like Zelda stuff that anybody would wear.
I think the thing to me is like, I mean, you can make either of them happen on like apparel where it's like, you know, like anyone would want to wear this kind of thing pretty easily. The thing with this comment specifically is,
I can't even think of that. Like, cause like the most like minimalistic thing that you could do with like Zelda is like the Triforce or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you could make a Triforce look trendy.
I mean, no, you could totally just,
like a little, just like, slap it places.
Just a little Triforce.
Yeah, and that doesn't look trendy. Like,
I like the Triforce.
Triangles are very trendy. I feel like just
triangles
in general.
Are they?
And gold
yes,
specifically.
Right.
You can make gold embroidery and things of that nature.
I think that Zelda apparel and stuff like that is inevitably going to go in like the Lord of the Rings, like super nerdy.
I mean, I could definitely see it. But I guess the thing, even outside of that side of it, the like specifically being somebody who wants to buy them, I think there's more people with a casual interest in Mario just in general.
Yeah, because Mario doesn't have like this lore and like all that stuff.
But
like,
that means they're not like a casual interest isn't going to be enough to make you want to buy the expensive special edition anniversary collection of something, as opposed to Zelda has fewer people that are more interested more invested.
And to be clear, I agree with that. I was just saying on the point of like nobody wants to wear a Mario hat. I think that less people would want to wear a Link hat. You know,
you're not wrong in that. I guess I'm just like
depends how it looks for sure
at this point.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's just
but I mean,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like as you said, as you guys make the
there's
joke,
more like iconography that you can make like designed well and be minimalistic, like the 1-up mushroom, the superstar, stuff like that. Like that, like it's easier to make minimal and just look good and not like, oh, you're wearing an advertisement.
Right. I mean, there's
even
just
the Joy-Con, and I pre-ordered them. Like even the Joy-Con are like, oh, this is like super nerdy. Like,
right.
You're putting an incantation on my Joy-Con. Like that's what the Joy-Cons look like.
Hey man, you gotta seal yourself. Seal your soul to Nintendo. Like, this is what it is.
The last comment on this that I pulled is from Alec, who said 3D World was definitely my favorite product of Mario 35. The co-op is a ton of fun. As for which Nintendo property should get even half a celebration on this level, I'm bummed that the Fire Emblem celebration was so lame. I got the special edition Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light. I just wish they'd released another port or two alongside it. Give me the DS remake of Shadow Dragon, Awakenings, or Echoes. Heck, make a new Echoes title in the Fire Emblem Three Houses engine. Also, Golden Sun could get an anniversary celebration 1/100th of Mario's 35, and I would be elated. I mean, 1/100th Nintendo, is that too much to ask for?
Nah, I think that's fair for GoldenEye. GoldenEye said right.
He said Golden Sun. See, that's the thing that's even crazier. No,
GoldenEye.
No.
Oh, okay. No.
I think
1/100th
is too ambitious for Golden Sun, to be honest with you.
It is, but I mean, is that too much to ask, though? You know?
I think so, yeah.
But is it too much to ask, though?
I mean, you mean to ask, like to throw that question out into the ether? Nah, you're good. You can ask
Give
it.
me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay, cool.
It's probably too much to expect. That's a better way to describe it.
Unfortunately, you're very right.
Yeah, because they did a lot of stuff for Mario, dude.
They did.
1/100th is like.
I mean,
That's at least 3 releases for Golden Sun in 1 year, at least.
Or release one shirt and I don't know, a pin, you know?
Yeah, I
Something
think
like
that
that.
I think you'd be lucky for them to be like, we're releasing
be
a
very
special
lucky.
edition pin. Like, like, I think that would probably be the most that they would like. Here's a shirt.
Man, if they did though, what a time. I'm
Parker
still
would be first in line to buy.
in the
that
back
shirt.
of my mind, I'm still like holding on to hope of that one rumor that was like, yep, Mario Golf is coming in 2021. And they're don't think about it for a while, but Golden Sun's gonna be down the road at some point. Like
We'll see.
I'm less holding on to that rumor and more just onto hope.
Mhm.
All right. That's it from my video. Lee will be back in a little bit, but we've got
Q&A.
so many Q&A. Let me put this timestamp up
Yo,
here.
where did this come from?
Yeah. Wait, how we're at one? I don't know. 2:39. There it is.
Wait, why are you putting the time? What's the time?
I'm putting the timestamps for later so that I can go back and easily tell where stuff is. Because we started usually if we start at like 3 or for you 4:17, then it's really hard to do it. But we started like right at 3:30, so it's really easy. I mean, obviously not that easy. You saw me struggling just now, but to get the timestamps. So, all right. Here's a lot of questions. We're going to go through them. I don't know, maybe as quickly as possible, but we'll see. First of all, hello, Lee. You did it.
Hi,
From YouTube community, we actually first, real quick, last week we asked a question, and I'm going to pull up DTY and just go through some of the answers. Just read them out. We asked what people's first game that they played was, something along those lines. Or
yeah, it was like, how old were you when you like
Uh-huh.
first played a video game or whatever? Because we were
Yep.
trying to see like what's the like just who's the youngest person and who's the oldest person.
There you
We
go.
don't have to, like, go through
So Alec, Bubble Bobble 2 on the Game Boy. He was probably 4. All right. Crasher, Donkey Kong Country 2 when he was 4-ish. And let's see, Pac Blixty said Wii Sports when he was around 6. Farmer,
we should have planned it out and just did.
I
the
know,
youngest
Farmer
person and oldest
Gooch
person.
said somewhere between 3 and 6, and something on Game Boy Color or PS1, and Mega Man 5 or 6, and something on Game Boy. I think that's everybody that said something. So basically,
average age is like around like
4-ish.
5.
Yeah, something like that.
Because a lot of people said 6, so that just brings up
that's
that
true.
average.
It does bring
so
up
it's
the
like
average.
5-ish.
There it is. What a time.
Mhm.
Look at you guys playing games at 5 years
You
old.
did
All
it.
right,
You
YouTube
did it.
community. I asked about Splatoon 3, if you're going to play it, enjoy it, et cetera, et cetera. Primarine Gaming said, I might get it, but I might get Splatoon 2 first. Makes
You
sense.
should. It's fun.
Hudson Hillsman said, I'm getting Splatoon 2 next week. So if I like it, I'll be hyped. Looks amazing.
Yo, it is. It's a very fun video game.
Nice. The last one about Splatoon 3. JBell17 said, didn't have a Wii U, so never got to play Splatoon, but was very interested, but got Splatoon 2 right away on Switch and loved it. Played like 400 hours and got my siblings into it. So I'm super excited for Splatoon 3. Side note, Wii U is weirdly the only Nintendo console I haven't gotten since N64 when I was younger. I meant to get a Wii U, but I was in college and my roommate had one. Then afterwards, a friend just left one at my house, so we played Smash all the time. LOL. Nice.
Yeah, no, I've had all of them.
I
Even like in
have
the,
not.
like the time where the Wii era was like where I was like, I don't really care about playing games actively.
Mhm.
But I still had a Wii and I still played Smash Bros. Brawl on it.
Mhm.
I
And there was like
going to
other
ask,
games that I played on Wii, but
AJ, do you still like nowadays play Splatoon 2?
sometimes, occasionally, yeah. But it's more of like a social thing. Like I don't like get on there and be like, yo, I'm playing Splatoon 2. There's literally the only like multiplayer game that like has any type of like scene or whatever that I'll just play removed from anybody regardless of what they're doing is Smash Brothers. Everything else, like if there's a multiplayer game that I'm playing, it's because other people are also playing it.
Makes sense. I feel you. That's a shame.
But I have fun with Splatoon. It's just Splatoon. It's even more so a game that's like
You need.
I don't want to play this by myself because it's annoying playing it with random people.
Yeah,
'cause-
right. That is one thing where like, yeah, I just, even if this, like, I would love the single player mode to be cool just for what it is, but even like the version of the multiplayer mode, if there wasn't like a versus bots kind of thing, like equivalent to playing CPUs in Smash, that kind of equivalent, that would be nice. Like just to have something where like you can, because that's something that's just prohibitive to me. Like
At least slightly practice.
I'm not going to play. Yeah, something like that. So I don't know. We'll see. Ian Boast asks, why do you think Nintendo is choosing to celebrate half-year anniversaries for their mobile games in the current climate of not mentioning Zelda 35th?
Oh yeah, you're talking about how they did what is it called? Dragalia Lost. It was like it's 2.5 year anniversary.
Honestly, I think it's because the games, like mobile games world moves so much faster than console games.
That game is like a senior citizen at this point.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's just like you just need to be updating stuff every week, every whatever. Whereas for like a Zelda game, you put out a Zelda game every 5 years and you're good. You're on top
also,
of it.
I'd say that it's because like they feel the need to remind you that it exists.
Yes,
like,
right, exactly.
I think that's like probably the bigger thing for Dragalia Lost of like, hey, we did this game and it has legs. Somewhat, you know, people playing it, dude. It's 2.5 years old. That means something, right? And also, I think they're intentionally not bringing up Zelda because they don't want to overpromise. They don't want to be like, we're doing all this stuff and COVID is still a thing. They want to be like, all right, we'll announce stuff when it's ready.
Yep. And also, I think just it wouldn't make sense to announce it while the Mario stuff is going on.
Yeah.
And like also they would announce it the day after the Mario stuff's going on.
That's
like,
not something that they do. They're not like, all right, Mario's dead now. Zelda time. They're like, all right, we need to have a reason to announce other things. And then also, you know, like that sort of thing.
Yeah. So it'll be a little, I still fully expect a Zelda 35th anniversary rollout, but a little later. I think we said like June.
Wait, this year's the 35th?
Yeah, for Zelda.
It actually already
And
technically
25th.
happens.
Yeah.
It was in February, I think.
But the same thing happened for Mario. It's like people need to just be patient, like literally be patient. Because I made that video about like, oh man, I hope Sonic's anniversary is just as good as Mario's, and people are like, Mario's anniversary sucks. They didn't even do anything yet. And then 2-3 weeks later, that video blew up, and it was so many people being like, oh yeah, it's true. Mario got such a great year and all that crap, right? It's like,
yeah,
people are dumb, dude.
Andrew C says, will Nintendo go another generation with no Punch-Out, F-Zero, and good Star Fox?
Yes, probably. We'll probably get one of those. One of those, and I don't know which one.
like you guys, like, you know, I know AJ did a video on it the other day, but like, you know, they're saying that the Switch is halfway through its lifespan, quote unquote. So at this point, it's been like a few years. I don't really see those next couple of years. If anything, like you said, maybe one, but I don't see.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that the further we get into its life, I think it's actually more likely.
That's
because the Switch, like the first couple of years is like to win everybody over. It's like, okay, we need an audience. And then the last few years is like, okay, this is to keep our audience satiated. So you're able to like experiment more. You're able to be like, we don't need the selling power of a new IP because we already have you in the door. All we need is to make a game that looks interesting. The IP is just a power up. So it's like, if you're like, oh yeah, you know F-Zero, and here's a new F-Zero game that is good, a lot of people would buy it rather than like the Switch is coming out, F-Zero's coming on it. Like if people don't care about F-Zero, they're not going to buy a Switch for F-Zero.
And it's better to make
of the world. There's not enough of them to be like, man, that's your sales pitch. You know, like.
Also, right now, your camera's fully focused on the fog, and it's very funny that you're so far in the back. There you go. But yeah, I think like it's better to take risks when there's it's not necessarily better, but it's easier to take risks when there's a bigger install base already there. And like once they have 80 million people in, it's like, okay, well, we can make if 1% of people buy, well, maybe not 1%, but if 5% of people buy the new Star Fox game, that's way more people than 5% of people buying Star Fox in launch year or something like that.
Yeah,
I agree. I just think like, all right, as like whoever is the person that is basically the creator of like let's say Star Fox is using that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, do I want to put out a game at the end of this console's life?
I think it
That's just what I'm thinking
depends.
about it.
Yeah, it depends on what the trajectory is as a whole. Where like thinking of PlayStation, like PS4, the games at the tail end of the PS4 actually, like in
Sold
last year,
significantly more. Yeah.
still sold great.
God of War,
because-
but better than everything else.
Yeah,
like,
so like
Spider-Man PlayStation 4 came out, became the best-selling PlayStation 4 game. Then God of War came out. I think God of War passed No, God of War didn't pass it. It was The Last of Us Part 2. Which
Yeah.
is literally the last big game to come out on the platform.
So I think as long as when they announce the next, I think like until they announce the next console, they don't really have to worry about that question of like, do I want to come out towards the end? But when they announce the next console, then that's definitely a thing. But as long
the
as
original The Last of Us is another good example of that.
I just want to say, but like, you know, you're right about that. It would, like, from what we've seen, things will definitely sell. But then I'm also thinking as the developer or the person who created, like, at this point, maybe I should just start gearing up for the next one, and I could be the first and innovator. But I guess
why
that
do
goes
that
back
when
to
you
what
could
you
do
guys were
both?
saying.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it makes more sense for them.
Yeah.
Like if it's the Splatoon model, right? Where it's like the first Splatoon came out at the tail end of Wii U's life, and it sold like crazy for the platform it was on, and then they were not for the time, just for the platform. 5 million units in 2015 is like, okay, like there's way more than 5 million gamers or whatever, but for the Wii U, yeah, it's crazy.
there's at least 5,000,003.
Yeah, exactly. It's 5,000,003 gamers. That's the that's the number.
Where's
right
the
there.
three? Where the other three?
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, like, but for the platform, it's like that's insane. They were like, okay, we can sell that much on that platform at the tail end of its life. Let's move on to the next thing. You know, like it's not going to take them a whole another 5-6 years to develop this next game. They're going off of the momentum that they established on the already established platform so that they can get a foothold on the building one, right? So I think that it would honestly be better for them to like bring back older games on established established
and especially like I think the thing that the PS4 still had going for it too is that like it was obvious that the PS4 was kind of leading into the PS5 at the same time. Like there's not a huge divide. It's more of an upgrade rather than a replacement.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, whatever.
And it can't be a replacement because they can't manufacture them because they should have freaking delayed it a year.
Similarly, as long as it doesn't feel like, I know we did the N64, but now forget that. We're doing the GameCube or something where it's like more different things.
It's kind of like the jump from Wii U to Switch. Like, it's a whole
backwards
different
compatible and all that stuff. Like those are all, you know.
What you're saying, PlayStation 5?
Who?
You said it's a whole different thing. What do you mean it's a whole different thing?
I don't know.
That's what Lee said.
Words.
I said I don't know. I said it's a whole different thing as far as like the Wii U transition to the Switch.
Right.
Like it's a totally
one
different
dies,
console.
Another
exactly
starts,
It doesn't feel like how Parker said with the P4 P5 just feel like an upgrade. You know?
Yeah, because like ideally for that's what every console manufacturer wants. They want it to be a gradient. They don't want it to be a hard stop. They don't want to say like, okay, this one's dead, this one starts. That just so happens to be how a lot of Nintendo platforms, home consoles work because like this one is not successful. We have to move to the next thing. But to contrast that with their handhelds, they always try to be like third pillar, you know, it's going to live alongside our last thing. And then they eventually like, okay, we did the gradient. That one's dead now.
Pretty much.
To answer the original question, though, I think in my mind, the tier is good Star Fox, most likely, Punch Out, next likely, F-Zero, least likely.
Yeah, just because like that's the order of when we got
exactly. I mean, yeah, that's true. And like, honestly, I think we figured out a couple of weeks ago that they haven't technically missed a generation with Star Fox. Like there has always been a Star Fox game.
But they have not on Wii. They missed Wii.
That's true. You're right. But then, you know, in general, like there was one on the DS or two on the DS or whatever, but like it just wasn't always ones that people liked. So the good Star Fox is definitely a qualifier there.
Yeah, but, and good Star Fox is literally just Star Fox. Like Star Fox and Star Fox 64 is what people call good Star Fox.
Right. Yeah.
I think it goes. I think Star Fox Adventure, if we're doing the whole like for the time, Star Fox Adventure for the time is a good game.
Yeah.
But I think that like people let Star Fox Adventure with how it aged decide what Star Fox can and can't be. Where it's like because Star Fox Adventure didn't age well, they can't do an adventure game for Star Fox. It's impossible. Like that is the issue there, I think.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, you know, kind of like I was alluding to before, it wasn't a from the ground up Star Fox with that mindset. And that hurt it. You know, maybe not a ton, but at least some.
No, it hurt. It definitely did.
Next question. Good thing. Good question, Andrew. Thank you. The Superfan said, what's your most played game on Switch and how many hours?
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, like 1,800 hours. Like,
same. I have about 5,000 hours.
Yeah, this man has.
Oh boy, that's so many hours. Yeah, mine's Breath of the Wild with like 250. So definitely nowhere near any of that.
No, I will say, all right.
It's not more than that because then you have like 250 in. I feel like if it's 250, you have more in Animal Crossing.
I don't know. I've got 160 or so in Animal Crossing.
I thought you said you put like 200 in the Animal
Crossing. Ashley put in, I think, 340 so far. So I might have mentioned hers, but yeah, Breath of the Wild. There it is. Next question. Cool. Hey, cool. Said, I'm considering getting Crash Team Racing because I have Mario Kart 8 memorized at this point, and I want something new, but I'm afraid it wouldn't be as fun. Have any of you guys played
Real
it?
Quick, I just want to say, yeah, you should have Mario Kart 8 memorized because we've been playing it for so long.
Well, maybe Cool hasn't.
Maybe not. Maybe Cool just got in the last 2 years. I mean, it's very possible. Even still, I just want to double down. I'm like, dude, I'm very ready for a new.
Yeah,
Mario
I'm
Kart.
super tired. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out, and I was like, I'm already tired. That's what I'm
like. This is a port from Wii U.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
We were already playing this.
I will say too,
it's not even a port with like newer things. Like, a new stage.
Nah, man, you got Boy Zelda, dude. What are you talking?
I mean,
about?
it did have some new. It had
AJ.
So, like.
They didn't have Breath of the Wild Boy Zelda in the original one. They didn't do it.
I don't care about points.
Why not?
It had battle modes.
New content.
I love battle modes.
Yeah, it's true. They do have battle mode.
I mean,
actually new content, but like I don't care about battle mode. Battle mode doesn't exist to me.
Yeah, it's 100% same.
Block Fort mode. That is the only time that battle mode mattered. It was never battle mode for me. It was block fort mode, and that's it.
I think the other thing is, like, the more I think about it and the more I play Mario Kart 8, I do hope that Mario Kart 9 has a track builder because, like, there is an element to where, like, once you have levels memorized, it's like, I always wonder, like, how good actually am I at Mario Kart? Or is it just that I've memorized these levels so well? Like, I want to know how good would I be on the fly? Like, just not knowing a level at all and figuring it out as I go. And, like, obviously, you know, the track build, you'll get some super garbage tracks, but maybe you'll get some cool ones too.
Mostly
you know, like
garbage. I'd argue.
No, for sure. But, like, it would be a fun way to keep it alive longer, as well as whatever else, you know, they're already doing. So
that would be pretty cool.
Nah, man, for the 40th anniversary, they're going to do Super Mario Kart Maker. And it's
arguably,
you can do double dash.
They already did it.
You could do
Mario Kart Live Home Circuit.
Not true.
You make your own courses around the house.
No, I'm not done. I wasn't done. You can do double dash style. Like how you can do different Mario styles. You could do that. You could do Mario Kart 8 style. You could do Super Nintendo style. You know, that's how you do it, man. That's how you do Mario Kart Maker.
I just want to say that at-home circuit is mad privileged for me. I'm just like, bro.
Yeah. No, it's not. Like, it looks crazy privileged.
I don't have that much space in my house,
but see, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Listen. That's what I'm saying. In the commercials and stuff, those carts look huge, but they're not that big. They're like they're like a little bit bigger than premium Hot Wheels. Like,
but okay, maybe that is a thing. They do look huge, but I'm also taking in the fact that the person's house that they used looks like a
high rise. Like, it's not. But yeah, I think I had a very similar thought process where it's like, who has space for this? Like, but they're not that big, so it's like I can.
Okay, well, the size reduction definitely makes me a little bit more want to like be okay with it, but I needed to see it in actual like action.
Getting back to the question. Yeah. So have you guys played Crash Team Racing?
Yeah, I played it.
It's not, the question's not done, AJ. What do you think you're doing over here? It says, would you recommend it? Any other local multiplayer games I can play with others over and over again? PS4, Switch, doesn't matter.
There's this game called Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. It's really good.
Yep.
He said Crash Tag Team Racing.
Yeah.
Crash Team Racing. Yeah.
Yep.
Is that the old one, or is there like a newer one?
Yeah, there's.
I think it's a remake of an.
Is that a remake?
It's sort of. That's not really a remake. It's kind of sort of a remake.
All I want to know is, can you and like how in the old one you basically collide with whoever is on the field and you get one card. Okay, I have not played that new one, but the old one that I had when I was a kid and not playing online or anything was still super fun. And
I think Crash Team Racing, the original game, is the only good Crash game. I played a little bit of Crash Team Racing.
Yo, the Crash hate on this podcast is really insane.
I feel like I've heard good things about Crash Team Racing, like that it's not as good as Mario Kart 8, but like still pretty good.
I haven't played. I'm not going to say anything like negative about Crash Team Racing because I haven't really played it.
I haven't played it either. Yeah,
but I'm just saying like it has a good pedigree because the original game is really good.
Exactly.
Otherwise, I mean, any other suggestions besides? I mean, like
multiplayer games.
Multiplayer games depends on how many people, but like also like Jackbox Party Pack games. That's a different thing entirely, but like those can be pretty fun depending on who you're with.
Those are fun. I might recommend.
Ultimate Chicken Horse. If you like platformers at all, that's a good time.
I might recommend Rocket League, to be honest. Like now that it's free. It's very like it's free, and like with it being on Epic, it's like accessible from a lot of places on PC, on Switch, on PS4. So you and like a friend, like maybe if you don't want to do the 2-player thing, because standing in Rocket League is 3 people, but you can do 2v2s and you can do 4v4. So I think it's very open in that sense. It's just like some honest fun. You're just a little go-kart pushing around a soccer ball. Like it's super fun. So I would definitely recommend
it's good like co-op stuff too, in the sense that like I remember I played it with my friends and we both sucked at it, but progressively got better, and like
and
we were like,
fun.
okay, we're on a team, like we're so bad, but this is fun anyway. Like that's that's definitely.
And when you really do get those goals, it's like
exactly.
Yeah, we did it. Like so I would definitely recommend Rocket League, and I'm not sure about anything else right now. AJ, you got anything? You about to pitch Smash again?
No, I would basically just say like a lot of whatever. Let us know what genre you're talking about, because like you can go down this rabbit hole for forever.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
What are your preferred genres?
Yeah.
I think all of the like big Nintendo multiplayer games are easy recommendations. If you haven't played any of like the Little Big Planet games, Little Big Planet's pretty fun. You could check that out.
Isn't there supposed to be like a new Little Big Planet coming out soon?
There's one that's the Sackboys Adventure or whatever.
Oh, is that already out?
Right.
It's on PlayStation. Yeah, it was like a launch game. That was Ariana
it's like a Mario Odyssey kind of
game or whatever, and they were using that as like a marketing thing. Like Ariana Grande likes our game. Buy a PlayStation 5. Oh wait, we can't manufacture enough because we should have delayed it a year.
I mean, AJ, think about it. Like if I saw Ariana Grande playing a P5, I might be like, damn. I think I might need to get one of these.
Yeah, but like, who doesn't want one is what I'm saying to you.
I don't want one, but maybe if I wanted to see Ariana Grande.
You know you want a PlayStation 5.
I love the logic I want a PS5. Of like
exactly.
I want a PS5 because
Ariana Grande's playing it,
which means Ariana Grande and I, there's something there.
You have a connection because I also
maybe I can get her PSN. Who knows? Like, and then I'm talking to Ariana Grande.
Yep.
I mean, now I got a direct line on Ariana.
Now you got a
Grande.
foot in the door.
Exactly. So that's easy.
Go Fish Goldfish asks, if Nintendo worked with Capcom to get a Nintendo IP to fit within the Monster Hunter formula, similar to what they did with Koei Tecmo and Warriors games, which IP would you want?
None of them, because I don't like the video game.
I just, going back to the Beautiful Joe thing I was talking about earlier, I learned that when the GameCube came out, Capcom had a 5-game license with Nintendo, and one of those games was a lady that had guns and she would dance while
Wait, you
she
said
shot the
Capcom? I
guns.
think Capcom had 7. I think it was like Capcom 7.
The game, the video I watched at 5, but maybe it was. I mean, I'm not sure, but I know it was some lady that like
5,
was shooting guns while she was dancing and stuff.
I think that's Piano 3 or Piano something.
Something name, but it was that Resident Evil, Beautiful Joe.
And it was like
one
Killer
game.
7.
Yes, Killer 7.
That might be where I'm getting the 7 from.
Yeah, Killer 7. And there was one game that never came out. Like it just got canceled for whatever reason. I think it's called like Dark Phoenix Rising or something.
That's the game you want. What?
I think. Are
you getting that confused with Immortal Phoenix Rising?
I don't remember that last because it like I said, it never came out and I never heard about the game. So I'm forgetting the name. I'm butchering it a lot, but there was some games. Yeah. It just never came out.
So. I'm just looking at a list of Nintendo IPs, and there's a bunch that like I could see working with it, and so I'm gonna say them. Here they are. Pikmin, obviously. No. I mean, Zelda.
I think Pikmin fits the formula the best, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
go to the place, kill the thing,
right? Collect,
return
things.
The thing,
yeah, right?
Craft thing into thing, make it easier to return to the place, defeat thing, get rinse, repeat. I think Pikmin is probably like the
Pikmin could definitely work. Zelda could also work. Pretty much, I'm thinking anything where there's like a plethora of like big enemy monsters that exist within the lore. So, and like it doesn't have to be swords necessarily, because like honestly,
it definitely doesn't have to be swords.
What's the
gameplay loop is the thing.
Yeah, because like Daemon X Machina is the same kind of gameplay loop in the sense that you're going to a thing and beating a big boss and coming back and doing it. I saw other ones that I thought Golden Sun ish. Kid Icarus honestly could kind of work.
Maybe like Kid Icarus focused around like gods and stuff. So
yeah.
I mean, that's true. I don't know a ton about the IP, I guess, as far as like big.
They could definitely do it. I don't know, like in this context, I don't know if it will work in the sense that like.
I don't know what the loop part of like building up your arsenal, like
that people would be invested in because they would have to like make it up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's definitely a thing. Whereas like, I mean, again, Zelda would work easily in the way that Hyrule Warriors did, where you have weak weapons and you eventually get stronger weapons. And that's the idea with,
crafting my rusty sword.
Sin and Punishment. I don't know a ton about Sin and Punishment, but probably that could work. Seems to me.
Pokemon?
But honestly, kind of.
Man.
Yeah. So there's a bunch. I think I like Pikmin and Sin and Punishment as.
I don't know enough about Sin and Punishment.
I don't know enough about it either. But
I think Pikmin is like the most fitting one, honestly. Like I said that originally as a meme, but the more I think about it, I'm like that's the one that fits.
Like that's why I didn't challenge that at all. Like what I thought about, I'm like, yeah, Pikmin has these huge things. They do go and gather all the time. You can just get better armor suits, like better, maybe even get like maybe it's like 20 years in the future, and now they're like bio-producing Pikmin, and
because like Pikmin 3, they have like the different types of like the onions. If like you defeat a certain amount of monsters, you can craft a new onion. Like that's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so things like that. So that would be pretty cool. I think it really
give me money, Capcom.
Yes, pay AJ, honestly. Like,
so Go Fish Goldfish continues to ask, what game have you played the longest in a single sitting? The day Skyrim originally came out, I played it for 13 hours straight and only stopped because my 360 red ring.
There's this game. It's called Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yeah.
There's this game. It's called Breath of the Wild.
The game I've played most in one sitting would probably be it might be like Kingdom Hearts or something at some point. Like I might have been like one of my Kingdom Hearts 2 runs, I want to say. Like I remember getting that as a kid and not being able to get off that because I was so thoroughly enthralled with the story.
That's a good point though. As a kid, like honestly, it could also be Pokemon Blue, and like there's a question a little bit later about
I don't even know like
about car rides or whatever.
Because also think as a kid, time's diluted.
Yeah.
So
true.
Yeah,
time
is I think you're like, man, I played this game for forever because you played it for 4 hours, and that's like 2% of your life.
This is true. But I'm
so
specifically
it feels like
thinking
so long.
about like very long car ride or a flight or something like that where I know I played it like nonstop during that whole flight or that whole car drive or something like that. So like it's possible that there was a time. I remember one specific time playing just super long on a car drive one summer, but still feels like probably Breath of the Wild is more. But Pokemon Blue around that time could be up there.
I said Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. I don't know if that's true, but it's probably a Smash Brothers game because like I think Smash Brothers Ultimate is the more likely thing because now I'm at the point where it's like I play the game and I know people that play the game and they're like trying to get good at it. So like Falcon, when Falcon came here and we hung out, like that's literally all we did for like a day was like me, him, Logan, and some other friends like just played Smash. So it was like
yeah, right. I mean, that's the other one, and then I'll move on to the next question. I do like my friend James would come over and we'd play Lord of the Rings: Return of the King from 10 p.m. to like 6 a.m. At my house. So like that might take the cake as well. So who even knows?
There's literally no single player game that's anywhere as close because like it's easy for me to like play in a single player game, but like I am playing this for too long. I am done. But when I mean
that's the thing with the Switch too for me. Like I don't think it technically with Breath of the Wild, it probably still wasn't like all one sitting, but it feels like one sitting because I would only take 15-minute breaks here and there to do something else and then be like, I guess I'll just pick it back up because we're just hanging out. Well, I'll put it down. I'll pick it back up. So like, yeah, I think that, and then I'd go to bed and play for like 3 hours when I should be falling asleep.
Yo, I'm dead.
Felt. I'll be on Yu-Gi-Oh! Ranked. I'm just like,
I was just dead at the next question.
Yeah. Bass Eats Grass said, all your questions so far are asked by little kids. Now it's time for the grown-up questions. What's your bedtime?
4 a.m. I don't have a bedtime. It's like I don't know. It's whenever I go
it can range like on a good day 2-3, on a regular degenerate day 6-7.
Yeah. I'm just bad at going to sleep. I'm very bad at it. It's like
mine should be a lot earlier than it is. Okay, I'll rephrase that. It's later than I'd like it to be. I would like to be going because I have to wake up at like 6:45 or whatever to start working at 7. I would like to be going to sleep at like 11, 10:30, something like that. But Ashley generally wants her to be asleep before I'm asleep, which makes sense. But just for like comfort reasons and stuff, which like I get. And
that makes
totally
sense.
Makes sense. But she also doesn't have a job and can take naps during the day. So she's like, I'm trying to get sleepy. And I'm like, okay, I get that. But I also am sleepy. So we're at a bit of an impasse. So it fluctuates. Sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to go to sleep though. So, and then at that point, 10:30. But otherwise, like, I don't know, midnight, 11.
For me,
11:30.
it has literally nothing to do with it. Because like I'll wake up early anyway. I'm just bad at going to sleep. Like literally, like yesterday, I was so tired. I was very tired yesterday because like after the Tweek thing, like my brain was just fried because I was like, mulling over all the information and trying to absorb everything. So after that, I was like, I'm dead. I'm not trying to do anything. But then, and I was like, okay, I'm going to sleep early. I'm going to sleep at 10 p.m. And then I attempted that, and I was like, I can't sleep. So then I stayed up. I played Smash Brothers on Sierra's stream, and then I did other stuff, and somehow went to sleep at like 5. Like, so. There it is.
There you go. Moving on. Questions from Twitter.
And it's not even like a thing, like, because Bob will like go to sleep at like 6 and then wake up at 12. Nope. Yeah. Matter of fact, he wakes up at like 4 p.m. or whatever. I go to sleep at like 6 and then wake up at 9. Like it's just I just don't sleep.
I realize in retrospect that at least one person that I can think of will be mad that I said that question not in a Kronk from Emperor's New Groove voice. So the next question.
True.
Gags on Twitter asks, if a Nintendo Switch Pro drops this year, do we really need Breath of the Wild 2 released with it? No. Xbox/Sony released new consoles without any new games really, and they're still impossible to find. What if we got patches to improve existing games locked at 30 FPS instead?
I don't even think
that's
we need
the question.
That, honestly.
Why can't you do that?
because it's very entertaining.
Like when did you learn you could even do that? That's I'm just like, yo, what?
There's a couple of I'm not good at. Yeah, I'm not great at impressions. There's a couple that I feel like I'm okay at. So like
that's one of them.
Kermit the Frog, maybe, accidentally.
Rip, dude.
But some of those, mostly they just happened because at some point I, like tried to quote it and I was like, oh, that one actually like kind of worked out. And other ones I'll try to do it. Like one time maybe I tried to quote Peter Griffin and it was awful and I'm just never going to try it again. Yeah, just blew it out of the park. But yeah, so there's that.
There it is, but
okay,
I don't
yes,
think
continue.
they necessarily need to do that. It would be good, but I think that like to your point, just new thing is new is enough for people to be like, oh shoot, the already popular thing just got better, buying it. So
and I don't even know. Yeah, I don't think. I don't know. That's hard because I definitely don't think Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be like 100%. Don't think it's going to be exclusive to a Switch Pro. But like maybe I could see it launching at the same time, just because like it's launching at the same time. But I could also see them being like it's going to be out 3 weeks later, so it's around the same
but
time.
That's the thing. I think ideally what they do is they launch it and just on its own merits, like it has a better screen,
it gets a bump,
and like it has a longer battery life, or whatever.
It'll definitely.
And then
entice
2
way more
months
people.
later, they're like Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out.
And
like,
it does look better on this one, or something.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That.
Like when it actually is a console that some people will be able to find is when I think that ideally when the Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever comes out.
I really do wonder what the what the Switch Pro will mean for older games. And it sounds like from everybody who knows what they're talking about, that it's not going to mean that much for the older games.
Yeah.
Like some games will get patches to be able to do some stuff, but
like it'll run more stably.
but
or
probably it's more
to,
about future
They might be
games.
able to get it over the hill of like, oh, Breath of the Wild is mostly 30 FPS throughout, but there's some places where it goes to 22 or whatever.
Whatever. Even on that, right? To me, it just feels like it's gonna be like a new 3DS thing. Because like the new 3DS was a thing, and you got a C stick, but like, what games actually utilize that C stick? I don't know.
There's this game called Super Smash Brothers for the Nintendo 3DS system.
Okay, so just Smash and maybe a handful of other games.
Minecraft.
I think Kid Icarus Uprising used it.
Did it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, in
I never
retrospect,
played
because
Kid
Kid Icarus Uprising, they had that attachment thing for the other, and it was like freaking gross. It's like,
either way, I know most people remember seeing the new
nub
3DS.
sucked, though. It was bad. It was a bad nub.
Yeah. But I remember people, I'm sure people remember that new 3DS coming out, and it's like, I don't necessarily remember that making like a huge shift in like the gaming situation as far as like it being like exclusive to new 3DS or anything.
Yeah, no, that didn't matter
But
as much as just like it's a new, it downloads games kind of faster. And
Exactly.
it's like better 3D or whatever, or a better screen overall, actually.
Exactly.
That sort of stuff is a bigger selling point than like you could play Kid Icarus Uprising on your 3DS.
But yeah, now granted, right? The Switch is definitely something different, So maybe the Switch has enough power to make a difference in like, hey, like certain, like you say, things might be exclusive, but
yeah, I mean, for what it's worth,
it.
there were exclusives that the new 3DS made possible. They just didn't matter that much.
Yeah,
like
Earthbound
couldn't run on the original 3DS in the way that they emulated it or whatever, right? Like that, you needed the new 3DS. They had Xenoblade Chronicles 3D or whatever. Like they had games that's like people care about, sure, but they're not like.
It wasn't groundbreaking.
Yeah,
exactly.
Let me also tell you this. The new 3DS also knew that I actually have to go in a couple minutes. And it said, let's answer this last question from Twitter and hold over the Discord questions for next week.
Let's do it.
It's what we're going to do.
Nice.
You guys can finish them up, though, if you want. But I've got
we can go to the next one.
No.
Last one.
No,
Dylan Rand's Crybaby / Chris the Butte asked, long car rides, love them, hate them, thoughts? I personally hate them because I'm tall, 5'11", with long legs, so I can never get comfortable in any car for long periods of time. For me, totally depends on
I
if I'm
hate those.
driving or not driving, and if I get to play games in them. Like I'm fine with them in general, but I used to like them a lot more when I got to participate in them and play games and not have to be the one driving for a long time.
I hate
Makes
it
sense.
across the board. I hate it.
Yep.
I don't want to be stuck for that long. Like,
I want to say that that man is a liar. Well, first of all, we're the same height.
what are you talking about? No, that's not. Krista Butte is a woman that is tall. She is tall indeed.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
like her
five,
view-
It's true.
Well, hold on.
5'11" is tall for a woman. Very.
Yes, but granted, yes, we're the same height. And granted, obviously, I don't. My thing is, I don't think it's a height thing. I think it's more. She may not be able to know how to get comfortable in a car yet. Or maybe it's the cars she may be riding in that just don't suit someone that tall, you know? But more times than less, I don't necessarily feel like I have like a huge problem being in, like, as far as like my comfortability in a car. I just don't, like you said, I don't want to.
It depends on it depends on the length.
Depends on
of
the car for sure.
Yeah, it depends on the car. It depends on the amount of time that you're in it. Because like I think
Yeah, well, amount of time you're in it matters.
yeah, I
for
feel
sure.
that I feel that I don't know if short people have any better time with cars eventually becoming like uncomfortable and just get me out of here.
Yeah, I
like,
wonder.
but yeah, I
Gotta
feel
ask some
that
short people.
Yeah.
Well, there it is. Well, good job, y'all. Sorry, Discord, but we'll come back to you next week. It's all regular, so I'm sure y'all understand. Cool. All right. Well, everybody, good job. You did it.
The things like, comment, subscribe.
Thanks for having me
So
once
fun.
again,
So
guys.
fun.
And Parker, it was awesome to meet you
Great
for
to
the
meet you,
first
Lee.
time. Later.
One day you'll know who Pete is. That is
It's
all.
true. One day.
It's not my fault.
It's crazy that you don't know Pete. Anyway,
It's not
goodbye,
my fault.
everybody. See you later.